Jealousy. 4. Roughly sweeping her sleeve to dismiss these hostages, Bai Yen turns back to First Elder who's standing in the rear. First Elder, we will stay and rest somewhere in the vicinity for the time being. I like to see how long those people can endure before they lose patience. Even if she needs to force them, she would shove them out of hiding. As you wish, the elder nodded. I will go arrange everything. Should I go inform the king then? Go ahead and message Di Tsang. I won't be returning to the demon realm for the time being. I want to wait for them to fall into the net I set. It's fact that Bai Yen doesn't remember all the details of what transpired in her previous life, but that doesn't mean she couldn't imagine the level of carnage and death caused by these people standing at the peak of the celestial realm. It must have been a bloodbath for those demons left behind in this place. So what if they did it for the sake of the humans here? It doesn't absolve anything. Mother, Bai Xiachen tightly grasped onto the woman's hand, his lip forming a thin line. When are we going to pick up Ling Yan and Jin Tian? I miss them. How about this Xiachen, we can go pick up your siblings with Dragony right now since there's some free time. First Elder, I'm leaving you in charge while I'm not around. Yes, Queen. The elder respectfully arches his fist in compliance. Let's go. Holding her son and daughter's hand, Bai Yen disappears into the far-off distance using her newfound powers. At the same time, First Elder also whisks his sleeve to leave, leaving only the defenders who are all nervously kneeling there in wait. Their backs had already been drenched in sweat, only now do they gasp in relief at being spared. Those plagues are finally gone, but what are we going to do if the keepers don't return in half a month? We shouldn't have attacked those demons before if we had known the demon realm would recover this quickly. One of the defender comments after regaining his nerve. What are you spouting? If it wasn't for the Celestial Lord stopping us from attacking the demon realm back then, we would have destroyed the demons as a whole. The reason we are in this state is because of the Lord to begin with. A younger man who had a bit more gall objected, his face showing indignation at being forced to beg. Humanity is stronger than those monsters, why should we be humble to an inferior race? But that thought didn't last very long for the poor guy. In the next second after an older defender jabbed him in the waist, his eyes gawked and he started to stutter, Celestial Lord. Why did the Celestial Lord suddenly return? Standing at the front entrance was none other than Chui God. Like always, he's glisteningly pure with his long white hair fluttering in the wind, matched that with his emotionless temperament, he's the embodiment of a snowy blizzard. I've only been away for a while yet you bunch dare to spread rumors. The blizzardly man casts a glance at the young defender who's openly shuddering at the added attention. Keeper Zun's decision. 1. Lord, the youngster's face went deathly pale at the remark which was obviously directed at himself. Have Keeper Zun and them come see me. Chui God orders, not once giving the people here any more attention than he has to. That immediately brought the whole crowd into an awkward silence of embarrassment due not being able to comply. They already mentioned they didn't know to Bai Yen, now it only emphasized their inability when their own lord was asking the same question. It's shameful. Lord, we really don't know where the keepers are right now. Still indifferent and icy cold in his expression, then I will be here waiting for them. The keepers will eventually have to return one day. Also, do not let my whereabout be known to the public, I do not wish to be found. Once he's done giving this order, the man began to walk inside in an almost ghostly manner. He didn't make a single noise in his steps and literally became a blur due to how much distance he covered with every stride of those legs. Within the mountains, a reddish figure had just arrived on scene with her 2 children in tow. The place First Elder indicted should be here somewhere. Halting in her flight, Bai Yen scans the surrounding mountain peaks before locking onto the sound of laughter somewhere up ahead. I found it. Come, let's go pick up Jin Tian and Ling Yan. Meanwhile at the same time not far away at the edge of a small pool of water, Ling Yan had been holding her tummy and laughing away due to her own brother's effort of acting silly and cute before herself. She's been depressed after the water dragon left and only got her mood back a while ago. Then out of nowhere, the lassa's laughter ceased, replaced entirely by the look of surprise along that face once she noticed the new arrivals in the sky. Not waiting for the little glutton to react to his sister's odd behavior, Di Ling Yen promptly got up from the ground and threw herself at the woman who has now landed by their side. The baby didn't hesitate to wrap those small little arms around the lady's leg to gain a sense of comfort due to being all lonely inside. Wah! After 3 seconds of silence, that's how long the little demon princess could endure before breaking out into a tearful cry of grievance. Ling Yen, mother is back, so don't cry. Wrapping her hands around the crying baby girl, Bai Yen happily lifts her up to soothe that mood by patting her back and making a lolling sound. She knows her disappearance for so many days has affected her daughter, so the demon queen felt a strong level of regret and guilt for being a poor mother. Mother, mother. The little glutton finally caught up with reality and toddled over as well. But unlike his twin sister, the baby boy didn't have such a big mood swing, so he didn't cry and only smiled at who has come. Keeper Zun's decision. 2. Mother, I took good care of my sister during your absence. I also told her many jokes and happy things. Looking up after clinging onto the woman's thigh, the little glutton appeared all hopeful in the face like he's looking for a praise. Jin Tian is awesome, Bai Yen praises him, roughing up his hair as compliment. Of course, Ling Yen is also awesome. The both of you are my pride. Every child of hers was her pride, so she's not just saying it for fun. Mother, Di Ling Yen puckers her lips, those eyes still rolling with tears. Do you not want me anymore? Why did you leave me at this place? Oh, you must have found another baby fox outside, that's why you don't want Ling Yen anymore. Bai Yan's forehead inevitably twitched at that comment. She's got an aching suspicion that the sentence sounded familiar, as if someone already said it before. Subconsciously, the lady sneaks a glance over to the steam bun who's next to herself. Thankfully Bai Xiachen had his attention fully fixated on that little sister of his right now, otherwise he might just be able to pick up on the weird look he's getting. Don't cry Ling Yen, mother did not abandon you, we only had something to do. Aren't we back now? We're here to pick you and Jin Tian up. Bai Xiachen says, moving his hand to wipe off the peachy baby's tear whom he cherished as the greatest treasure. Not looking so sad anymore after hearing Big Brother's consoling words, the baby princess faces her own mother for confirmation. Really? Mother is here to bring me and second brother home? You're not leaving us again? It's the first time this baby girl's been away from her mother for so long. A child needs their parent around, especially at such a young age. Of course, it's true. Bai Xiachen continues to soothe his little sister using that extremely gentle voice. On the other hand, the little glutton's been staring up at his family hoping for some attention as well. When he discovered there's none to be had, the chubby little baby boy immediately broke out into a crying fit to get that. Startled by the outburst of tears, the steam bun furrows his nose and asked, "What are you crying about?" "I also miss mother and big brother. I also want big brother to hug me." Bai Xiachen's expression got very serious then. "Have you forgotten what I taught you before? Men do not cry easy. As a man, how can you cry so easily?" Taken aback by the lecture, the little glutton only then remembers the lesson, that, okay, I won't cry anymore, softening up after seeing how aggrieved and pitiful his little brother remains on the surface. Bai Xiachen moves forward to give him a hug anyways. Jin Tian, you will be the king of the demon realm one day, you can't act so weak. But you did well in taking care of your sister while we were away, so this is your reward. Giggling in happy note after getting the praise he wanted, Jin Tian hurriedly wipes his tears away. I am a man, I won't cry, I will protect mother and Ling Yen. Now that's a good man of our demon realm. Patting his little brother's head as a praise again after hearing what he wanted, I'm looking forward to your success. I will also tell father to pass the throne to you as soon as possible. Really? Jin Tian's eyes shined with light, forming a crescent shape to emphasize his own cuteness and desire for that position. He couldn't wait for that day and started to suckle his own finger like a little glutton that he was. However, the deception told to him about being able to eat as much food as he pleases once he's king remains a lie. By the time the poor boy realizes this pit set up by his own family, it's already too late and he's working his butt off day in and day out, starving himself thin compared to this lovely childhood he enjoys today. Jin Tian, Ling Yan, I want to introduce you to someone. Bai Yan went ahead to bring Dragony over to her side for the introduction. This is your older sister, her name is Dragony. Keeper Zun's decision. 3. Dragony nervously rubbed her little hand as she took in the two adorable babies. On several times already, she wanted to pinch their lovely face due to how cute they were. The only reason she hasn't was due to fear of breaking them like a toy doll. That's how delicate those two are in her eye. Hello, Sister Dragony. Di Ling Yan politely greets the girl, her little face bright with smile. On the other hand, Jin Tian only had a dull look as he surveyed the older girl before turning back to Bai Yan with a question. Mother, how come big sister's name is not the same as ours? And, why is she so pretty? Although the appearance of the young dragoness couldn't be compared to Bai Yan's scale, she's nevertheless starting to shine in her own way after growing older during this period. Mother, Dragony urgently spoke, can I touch them? They're so cute. Will I accidentally break them if I do? Black lines instantly filled Bai Yan's face. They are not dolls, how you break them? Feel free to touch your own siblings, they will be alright. Okay. Dragony instantly breaks into a huge smile, carefully extending her hand to first caress the baby girl's cheek. I touched it. At contact, she froze into a stiff iceberg as her heart raced with incredible excitement. In the past the dragoness also had her own family, an older sister as well, however, that family could never be considered a family. Forget about being close, they wouldn't even let Dragony get close let alone have any physical contact, and now she finally has a little and adorable sister. Unfazed by the cold finger touching her own cheek, Di Ling Yan only stared up at the girl with her own curious gaze. This big sister is so strange. She clearly wants to give me a hug, why is she not doing so? I want a hug. Afterwards, Dragony continues with her gesture and gave the little glutton a rub on the head as well. This time around, the dragoness became even more excited, bordering on the line of melting away due to her own joy. Sister Dragony, can you give me a hug? Di Ling Yan finally couldn't stand it anymore and suggested this. She's biting her own thumb in hope of getting her wish. Okay, Dragony sounded flustered at first but quickly came back to herself. Crouching down, she plucks the peachy girl up into her arms and drew a burst of giggle from Di Ling Yan as they snuggled their cheeks against one another. To one side where Winger's been standing the entire time appeared proud as he silently watched this scene. He also picked up on the desire from the dragoness and saw how easily the baby princess was able to lock onto that emotion as well. As expected of the queen's daughter, she's already showing such a huge heart despite being so young. Such a sensible and intelligent girl, how can Yun Roa she ever think about hurting her in the first place? It's getting late, let's leave now. Scanning her 4 children, Bai Yan felt so pleased to have such a big family. Xiachen, you are in charge from now on if I'm not around, can you do that? Of course mother, you count on me. Puffing up his chest, the steam bun proudly answers the call. Pleased by her eldest son's reply, Bai Yan went ahead to reach out with her hand to hold on to Dragony and his for departure. That leaves only the little glutton who's not being led yet. Jin Tian, you keep up okay? Keeper Zun's decision. 4. The little glutton nodded heavily and without complaint as he toddled from behind. The boy couldn't walk as fast as his older brother so he had to pace himself hard in order to keep up. Even so, Jin Tian's not unhappy, after all, he's a man of the family, right? A man must protect the females of the group, and he's going to be king someday. On the other end of Celestial Realm. Inside a cave, several old elders are sitting around a campfire, their mood damp and dreary due to the heavy air hovering above their heads. I'm sure all of you have already heard of what's happening out there. Bai Yen wants to force us out, otherwise she won't let those remaining in the celestial palace free. Have we really come to the end of the road? Keeper Yellow cocks a self-mocking smirk, his eyes full of sorrow. Those of them who were once high at the top has now been reduced to rats scurrying around in the caves. How could he not be sad? If not, how about we seek Yun Roashi, the one suggesting that never got to finish his words though because Keeper Ling, who's the grumpiest of the bunch, promptly cut him off with a punch against the cave wall. Shut up. Did you forget she's the one that placed us in this state? I will never forgive her, never forgive what she did to us and everyone else. The higher the hope, the stronger the disappointment. He gave far too much love to the old witch and sacrificed far too much to protect that deceitful woman. And for what? Nothing but betrayal and deception in the end. How could this grumpy keeper ever forgive such an existence? The half-month deadline is soon upon us. We've worked so hard for what? It's for the celestial realm. Even if the ending is death, I must meet with Bai Yen again. Keeper Zun, who's the kindest of the bunch, stood up, his fist a tight clench as he inhaled deeply to ready himself. Keeper Zun, do you believe she will really forgive us after all we've done to her? Keeper Yellow smiled helplessly. Before they would dare bargain with the demon realm because they had the supposed master of the amulet on their side. The group believed Bai Yen and Di Tsang would agree to their terms for the sake of the demon realm's safety. But right now, without that bargaining chip, what qualification do they have left to barter? It doesn't matter, I'm going to try anyways. I and Keeper Ling will handle this matter in person. The rest of you wait here. Keeper Zun's eye grew firm and strong after saying that. Keeper Yellow appeared taken aback by the proclamation. Hurrying to speak, you're serious about this? I still believe we should retain our strength for the impending battle. No, we can't wait until that day comes, the risk is far too high. If I and Keeper Ling's life can be used to persuade Bai Yen in saving this world, then our death would be more than worth it. Then under the watchful eye of others, he strode out of the cave like a brave soldier meeting his maker. Keeper Ling didn't cower away either. Without looking back, this grumpy elder who's known to have an attitude followed suit. What do you all think? Will Keeper Ling and Keeper Zun be able to change Bai Yan's mind and drop her hatred? The one who suggested to turn to Yun Roashi before spoke again. Keeper Yellow, the de facto leader, remaining, sank in his eyes at the idea. They have both made the decision to die if they must in their venture, there's no telling what will happen. I do know Keeper Ling must be there if there's any chance for this plan to work. It was he who killed Bai Yen, and it was he who killed the unborn baby in her belly. If Keeper Ling dies, then maybe the hatred could be lifted. As to why Keeper Zun also went, I'm sure you know the temperament of Keeper Ling. Someone must be there to help douse the flame somehow during the talk. Negotiation 1. Inside an inn that's located not far from where the Celestial Palace was located, Bai Yen lies comfortably atop of a soft comfy bed as she snuggled with the small meat bun in her blossom. Di Jin Tian very much enjoyed this intimate moment with his mother, of course, but as he blinked and blinked due to the comfortable massage he's getting, his tummy just had to give in to his hunger and began to growl again and again. This causes his small happy face to pucker into a grieving frown. You're hungry already? Bai Yen asks with a tenderly smile after hearing the noise. Biting his thumb as he nodded, Mother, I am hungry, go ahead and ask your big brother to take you then, Mother here has something to do while you eat. Loosening her hand around the young baby, Bai Yen didn't find it disappointing to lose her soft marshmallow. In return for the freedom, the little glutton did what any child would do and happily smooched the mother on her cheek, thus smothering the face with his saliva. He's too excited at the prospect of being able to eat all those delicious delicacies. Mother, I'll go find big brother then. After you're done come back and be my hug pillow. This little guy's soft body feels so good. Now that Xiachen is older, it's only normal for him to be the replacement for Bai Yan's huggies. The premise is that Di Tsang's not around, of course. And sure enough, Jin Tian didn't disappoint. Even before he left, the way he toddled out of the room was absolutely adorable. In the rolling strides he did, similar to a baby polar bear. For a moment, Bai Yan wondered if he's really a fox or not. Foxes don't eat as much as he does and isn't as silly. Suddenly, two familiar energy signatures started to draw near, causing the lady in the room to spartan up in the face. "Come in!" Bang! With a gush of wind blowing the door open, two old seniors appeared before the host. In light of the intrusion, Bai Yan remains lazy, looking on the bed like she didn't have a care in the world. On the other hand, Keeper Ling and Keeper Zun was less assured despite being the outsider. They were dazzled by how incredibly stunning this woman has become after her return. Whether it be the air of temperament, this demon queen has changed and became more magnificent than ever before. If only we didn't do what we did back then. Perhaps Bai Yan would already be the Lord's wife. "Bai Yan, I heard you're looking for me." Speaking first was Keeper Ling. However, his mouth didn't get to run further than this due to his counterpart shooting him an eyeful to be quiet. Everyone knows how rude the grumpy elder could get, so Keeper Zun wanted to shut that down before they start the negotiation. Supporting her head with a hand, Bai Yan coldly smirks at the pair before starting. "It seems there is quite a few missing among you, why did they not come out?" Changing in his face, Keeper Zun inhaled deeply in order to suppress the inner panic. "Your Highness, we are here to talk." Without indication, Bai Yan bursts into a derisive laugh. "Talk? Have you mistaken something about me? I came back to get revenge, not to talk." Keeper Zun's heart clenched into a mass of unease. "Your Highness, I know you will not let us go, that is why we are here to offer our heads. I only hope that once we die, you will forgive the past and protect the celestial realm." Hearing this, Bai Yan finally pulled herself up from the soft comfy bed and confronted the two keepers. "First, my enemies are not just with you too. 1,000 years ago, many of you colluded together to murder me and those close to me. What makes you think I will let those people go? Secondly, I can promise to not do anything to the rest of the celestial realm, but, you want me to protect them? On what grounds should I do that?" Negotiation. 2. In simpler terms, she's only promised not to attack those from the celestial realm, never did she say those demons wouldn't do anything as retaliation on their own. The debt has been piling up for a millennium, there's no way blood wouldn't be shed once things start rolling. After all, a simple word of forgiveness could never atone for a sin. That would be the equivalent of murder and getting off scot-free after a slap on the wrist. Keeper Zun's mouth stammered for a proper response. He thought of countless possibilities before coming, but he never thought Bai Yan would directly refuse their request so quickly. "Your Highness, the ones who did wrong is us, the rest of the celestial realm is innocent." Smile sarcastically. "Innocent? If they're innocent, then what about those demons and demonic beasts? So just because they're different that they deserve to die at those so-called innocent hands?" That brought Keeper Zun to a stall, unable to counteract that argument. In his mind, those animals have always been there for them to kill, to use, a resource to be tapped when needed. How could he find a proper argument in defending their stance without offending this lady first? Bai Yan, Keeper Ling, who's the grumpy one, could tell his counterpart has lost the ability to negotiate. Glaring at the lady as he spoke, "I know you hate us to the bone. Tell us what you want then, we only ask you protect the celestial realm afterwards." Squinting her eyes into a narrow slit, Bai Yan glared at the old man in reply. "I want Azure Dragon and White Tiger to have never needed to die and reincarnate. I also want my husband to not have needed to be in coma because he used his soul to reform my own. I also want my grandfather from the Celestial Palace to have never lost his sanity." The more she went over the past, the more her hands were clenching into a deathly grip. "I'd rather. I'd rather not have had to die and experience the pain of life and death. Can you do all of that? If you can change all that, then I'll help the celestial realm. Even though she's found White Tiger and Azure Dragon again in this life, it still doesn't change the fact that they died and has been reincarnated into a new. Then there's also her unborn child from the previous life. That fetus bore so much resentment that it permeated into this era, such emotion and pain. How could she as a mother not demand justice? Bai Yen. You really can't shelter the lives of Celestial Realm after me and Keeper Zun offer our lives? Keeper Ling asks again, his voice full of stubbornness. Smirking in her face, Bai Yen only had one word for this grumpy old bone, no. Then pausing to take a look around like she's trying to make a point, and look around, does it appear I wouldn't be able to take your lives on my own? Locating your whereabouts was just a matter of time. Why should I make a deal when it's something within my own reach? This demon queen has never been one to shelter her enemies. Never in the past, and never in the present. Of course, the celestial realm won't disappear. I have no intention of destroying this place. There are plenty of humans from the human world who will eventually ascend into immortality. At that point both demons and celestials will coexist without grudge. The only difference would be you people being gone. Her family and friends from the human world are the most likely candidates to achieve ascension. By that time she would make this realm suitable and welcoming to all. There won't be such a thing as evil and good based on race, only personal deeds that dictating one's future. Negotiation. 3. Keeper Ling's hand began to tighten into a tense ball after losing his patience. In that case there is nothing more to talk about between us. To think you're such a cold-hearted person who would sacrifice so many innocent lives just for your own desire. It's true that many in the celestial realm harmed her, but there are also countless more who did nothing at all, nothing. How did her heart become so cold and hard? Bai Yen sneered even harder at the reprimand. No matter how cold and hard my heart becomes, it's nothing compared to the likes of you. That's why even if you die, it won't erase anything. Seeing the grumpy Ling was about to lash out now, Keeper Zun who's been quiet immediately tugged at his counterpart to stop. Turning back to the demon queen, this kind elder sighs as he spoke. Bai Yen, back when you were with us in the celestial realm, we really did look at you with our sincerity. Unfortunately, fate likes to toy with those living. We too never thought fate would pan out that way and cause so much hurt towards you. But even if we regret it now, it's already too late. Making a bittersweet smile at the thought, I know you won't forgive us, and that's within your right and reason, we know that. We only hope. You can let us die with dignity. Stepping back to her bed to take a seat, Bai Yen didn't appear fazed by the determination shown by the two elders and instead sneered some more. All right, you can do that. I do not want to ever see the existence of the Celestial Palace again. The Celestial Palace is bound to topple, just a matter of when and who does it. Trembling in his hand for the inevitable, Keeper Zun slowly closes those eyes for one last time and smashed down at his own head after gathering energy. Boom! He did not hold back at all from the strike, smashing heavily into the floorboard and leaving him lifeless and dead. Bai Yen didn't get moved though by this sheer will of conviction, nay, instead she turned to face Keeper Ling who didn't move yet. Shivering at what has come to pass for his counterpart, the grumpy elder spoke apprehensively, Bai Yen, you really can't help the celestial realm? No, she bluntly answers him and refuses to waste more words. That finally did it. Like being brought to the edge of a cliff, Keeper Ling breaks out into a hysterical laughing fit that dropped the temperature of the room down a notch. I see. I know you won't let me go even if I don't commit suicide. Suddenly, the old elder's eye turned sharp and determined. However, I want to tell you this before my death, Yun Roashi isn't dead. She's not only alive, she's also being backed by a very powerful entity, ha ha ha. As he laughed away so did the palm of his hand strike down from above, smashing his brains out and causing both eye and mouth to spill blood while dropping to the ground. Just like that, under the witnessing ray of the shining sun seeping through the open window, two lifeless bodies of some of the strongest entities here in this world finally came to an end, closing their chapter in the history books for good. Uncaring as she lazily stretched her arms at the finished sight, Bai Yen spoke with indifference, "First Elder, take these corpses and toss them back to the celestial palace. Let them deal with their bodies if they want." "Yes, Your Highness." Gradually revealing himself from a shadier part of the yard was none other than the leading demon elder. He wasted no time in picking up the still warm sacks of flesh with his bare hands to leave. Alone again now after having her room cleaned, Bai Yen didn't go anywhere afterwards. She knows someone's coming, a familiar someone that she's been wanting to see after returning to this world. And sure enough, after a couple of minutes, a tall standing figure of warmth appears before herself after descending from the sky. Black Turtle. Contract Black Turtle, 1, Queen. Black Turtle arches his fist and greets Bai Yen, his smiling face as handsome as ever. "Now that you back, I ask that you contract with me again and make me your familiar." Slowly getting up from her seat, Black Turtle, "How much of the past do you remember?" Even though the celestial palace would soon become a thing of the past, Bai Yan's nevertheless unable to remember all the details from the previous life. All this demon queen knows was that they're the ones that caused her friends and family to separate, the cause of all her pain and suffering, so getting any more detail would be helpful. "I don't know anything," the charming human form of the sacred turtle frowns. "I only got the visions and fragmented dreams from Earth to go by. In those fragments, I saw you, the king, and a man. I couldn't make out that person's face clearly, but I know he's the one. Who killed me?" Bai Yan's finger visibly trembled at that last bit. Gently closing her eyes, a scene gradually reappears in the lady's head. It's a battlefield, specifically the Battle of Azure Dragon before his death. The young dragon general was dazzling and peerless in his fight against the enemy, but that shining son of a man still fell victim to a backstabbing sword from the rear, a spot in which he trusted to be safeguarded thanks to his own allies watching it. "Do you mean? Besides the celestial palace, we also have other enemies in this celestial realm?" Bai Yen understands now the one who murdered her precious friends was someone they trusted. "I don't know," shook the guy's head, "I can't remember anything. I only know you are my mistress and that person is close to you. As for anything else, I can't remember anymore." Bai Yen did not continue her inquiry anymore, knowing her efforts would be futile since the guy was also a reincarnation like herself. Perhaps the only person left who knows the full story would be Black Turtle. "I promised Suzaku that I will bring everyone to her place on the Demon Mountain if I gather all of you. She is waiting for us now." "I understand." Although Black Turtle couldn't remember anything still, these people whom he cherished the most remains firmly plastered in his heart. As a result, his lips had formed a warm smile without deliberately doing so at the mention of that bird. "Now let's start the contract." Bai Yen closes her eyes to begin after saying that, allowing the man's finger to reach over to touch her forehead. Instantly, a surge of energy flowed through into the lady's mind, imprinting something between the two of them and locking their souls together. Under the blood-colored sky, a young girl dressed in white stood staring down at the stubborn-looking young teen lying in front of herself. "What's your name?" The girl's eyes showed pity, yet it was crisp and easy to the ear in light of the attitude. The teenager's eyes were stubborn, black-white. "Black-white? Your name is really strange, why is it both white and black?" Smiling with her huge grin as she squatted downwards, "I can save you, but you must follow me from now on, okay?" "Why?" "Because you are a black turtle, and the only remaining one at that. If you follow me then I won't let anyone hurt you again. You follow me and I won't let anyone hurt you again." The teenager's heart shuddered at the idea, his stubborn gaze finally taking a closer look at the girl's face to discern the truth in that statement. Immediately, their focus locked and the young lad found himself moved by that smile. Without control, he nods and sealed the deal. Contract Black Turtle, 2, alright, I will follow you. In this life, as long as you don't abandon me, then I won't abandon you even in death. The teen didn't think much of his vow that day, but he really would die for her eventually somewhere into the future. Bai Yen silently stood there as she watched the scenes flashed before herself. First it was the original meeting of herself and Black Turtle, then through their growth and eventually the final battle in the celestial realm where the sky has been stained with blood. I, Black White, promised her I will use my life to defend her. Replacing that stubborn young teen with an attitude was now a tall standing and upright man who carried an air of reliability and strength. From the day she took him in, Black White has vowed to follow this woman for life. That's why in spite of the terrible odds and numerous injuries along his body, this last surviving member of the Black Turtle clan would never yield or submit before the enemy. At this sight, Bai Yan's heart instinctively clenched up and wanted to help. But the lady knew she couldn't move, in fact, she could do nothing here. This wasn't real, she knew that, but it doesn't change the fact that her emotions are swirling out of control. Thankfully sanity had the better grip in this case, otherwise it would beat the whole purpose of falling into this state again of seeing the past. Doing nothing as the battle raged onwards, growing fiercer and deadlier with each passing minute, it soon became clear neither side could really come out on top. Unlike the other three sacred beasts, Black Turtle had the strongest defenses of them all. Even when outnumbered, the attacks aren't able to truly penetrate his skin, that was until he came. From out of the blue without anyone noticing on the battlefield, a powerful force reared its ugly head out from behind Black White's view. It's a blade comprised of condensed air, a silent yet deadly strike that penetrated straight into the man's heart and plowing a hole right through that chest where blood sprayed out like a fountain in its wake. In light of the lethal injury, the demon general didn't fall, instead, he fixed his gaze upwards and onto the clouds where a mysterious figure floated. In his eye, there's shock, disbelief, but more were that of sorrowful pain at the recognition. Bai Yen followed this gaze of course. In her discovery, the person responsible for this sudden attack appeared hazy and shrouded behind a cover of mist in her view. She wanted to get a better look, finally moving her legs to go forwards. Unfortunately, like all the times in the past, this was when her consciousness got dragged back out from the deep state. Black White, standing there with a solemn attitude after recognizing where she's at, I will find out who that person is, I promise you. She never accepts betrayal, especially those whom she trusts. I believe in you, mistress. Because of the contract they just formed, Black White had changed his way of addressing this demon queen and no longer called her his queen. During this period, you don't need to stay with me, go protect my children instead. If I'm not mistaken, it won't be long before that enemy begins to move against us. The only thing she couldn't put down was her children, especially Bai Xiachen who has been with her the longest. Yes, mistress. Demon Realm. A blood-colored moon hung high in the sky as Chu Yi, the Holy Land's princess, strode through the open streets. She's feeling rather creeped out right now due to the strange chills running through her back. This demon realm is so scary, just like Di Xiao Wan's older brother. No wonder that guy's so frightening. Contract Black Turtle, 3, but we have no other option. Lan Xiaoyun, younger cousin, pinches her lips to one side. Auntie Ning already said Bai Yen cousin is in the demon realm, that's why I snuck out of home to find her. Since the day where Bai Yen disappeared from the face of this world, Bai Ning, who's the lady's own mother, had gone back to the human world where the rest of the family resides. There, it's where she came to front with her daughter's miserable childhood and the mistake she had committed on Bai Yen. It's also there where the woman discovered the tragic years her husband endured and of how close the man suffered a mental breakdown. Worst of all, she couldn't even make amends for all the years of being gone due to both being missing. Her daughter disappeared before her very eyes, and her husband Yun Feng had gone out to search for her whereabouts with no news of his current location. It's irony at its finest. Xiao Yun, let's explore this place first and ask for directions to the Demon Palace. We need to find Di Xiaowan before we continue since this is her turf. They are the infamous earth-shattering 333, it wouldn't be proper if they didn't have the third within their group. Looking back at things, it's been a long while since they've been temporarily disbanded. You're right. Lan Xiaoyun quickly scans the street and fixed her eyes on a passing girl who appeared similar in age. Miss, can I ask you for direction to the palace? Coincidentally, the one being spoken to here was none other than Huang Xiaoying, the tigress and also self-proclaimed fiancé of Little Rice the White Tiger. Ever since that male feline left by following Bai Yan's footstep into the celestial realm, this poor love-struck tigress had been moody and unhappy for not being taken along. So, imagine some random girl coming up to herself with that lovely little face and asking for directions to her fiancé's home, there's no way she wouldn't be on guard. You're a human. She could tell by taking a quick sniff of their scent. We're here to find Di Xiaowan, can you show us the way? Chu Yi changed her old arrogant temperament and asked politely. This wasn't her home nor the human world, there wouldn't be her older brother here to watch over herself. When visiting, it's only proper to change her manners in accordance with the locals. Who are you to the queen? Lan Xiaoyan blinked and blinked her beautiful eyes, slightly taken aback by that title. Do you mean Bai Yan? She's my cousin. In an instant, Huang Xiaoying's attitude flipped a 180 and showed excited joy. Then you know my future husband? Your future husband? Chu Yi exchanged a glance with her partner in crime and made a skeptical face. What is this strange demonist talking about? Her future husband, who is that? Getting all shy at the counter question, the tigress appears all red in the cheeks as she spoke. My future husband is Little Rice. Like thunder rolling across the sky, Chu Yi and Lan Xiaoyun were both left gawking on the spot. The woman in front of us, is Little Rice's fiancé. But he is so young, how did he get hooked up with someone already? However, Little Rice hasn't accepted me yet, but no worries, I won't give up. Huang Xiaoying cocked a confident grin at the two girls to show her determination. Can both of you give some good words on my behalf to Her Highness and Little Rice? I can steal all of my pa's treasure and give it to you if you do. Contract Black Turtle. 4. In order to pursue her husband, Huang Xiaoying would go to any lengths at this point. Pity though the main tiger of the show wasn't around to see this, otherwise it would be a real showstopper. That's fine. Chu Yi grasped onto the tigress's hand in support. I'm looking forward to the day where you and Little Rice marry. Now can you take us to Di Xiaowan? We got something to discuss with her. Of course. Huang Xiaoying's smile grew more brilliant at the future, but you must help me persuade Little Rice for sure though. Aside from being a little older than he is, I'm perfectly good for a wife. Older? Chu Yi eyed the tigress with an examining look, unable to discern the actual age of this lady due to that youthful face. Little Rice hates it that I'm older than he is, that's why he won't accept me. She puckers her lip like an aggrieved wife waiting for her man to return. Can I ask, how old are you exactly? Huang Xiaoying stretched out a finger as a reply. 1 year old. 1 year older is nothing, why would Little Rice dislike her? She shook her head at the guess. Then, 10 years older. 10 years older is a bit of a stretch, but it's not impossible, right? She shakes that head again. I am 100 years older. Boom. 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 Rocked by the thundering explosion in her own head, Chu Yi didn't even know how to respond to this revelation. 100 years old, at this age, she's even older than my grandpa. No wonder Little Rice is so reluctant. Actually, I'm still considered young. Take Di Xiaowan for example. My impression of her is that she's 100 years old, but First Elder told me the princess is already a millennium in age. Huan Xiaoying pinches her lip into a flat line as she hung her head depressingly. Why is Little Rice refusing my advances? I don't get it. An awkward and shocked smile gripped onto Lan Xiaoyan's face like a haunted ghost. Di Xiaowan is 1,000 years old. She's 1,000 years old. And I just found that out. Demon Palace. Sitting at the edge of her own room's balcony, Di Xiaowan the demon princess was currently propping her chin against those hands and staring up into the blood-colored moon. Big Bro has been gone for a few days already. Why hasn't he returned with sister-in-law and Xiaoqin yet? I haven't seen them for so long time. Your Royal Highness, a palace maid hurriedly ran over then to make a report. Miss Huang Xiaoying of the Tiger Clan has come to seek an audience. Huang Xiaoying. What is she coming to see me for? I'm not seeing her, I'm not. I won't see anyone but my sister-in-law and new niece. Huffing a snort, she shakes her head back and forth to emphasize her droopy mood. But Huang Xiaoying brought 2 girls with her. They claim you and them are the earth-shattering 333, Wah. Before the palace maid could even finish her words, Di Xiaowan had already bolted out of there, leaving only a stunned-looking messenger in the rear coughing from the dust created. Chu Yi, Lan Xiaoyan. Even from afar, the demon princess could already recognize those 2 humans standing there. Without delay, she ran over to give each a hearty hug. How did you both get here, and how did you get to the demon realm? Why didn't you send me a message? I could have had someone go pick you 2 up. At first the 2 princesses of their own home were at odds with each other, but after some further mingling and fighting, Chu Yi and Di Xiaowan were now close friends. As the old saying goes, one doesn't get to know one another unless they fight, which created their profound friendship. Of course, there's also the important factor of Chu Yi giving up on helping Chu Yifeng from pursuing Bai Yan. Otherwise, any friendship would mean squat in this case. Contract Black Turtle, 5. According to reason Huang Xiaoying the Tigress should have be the closest relationship with the demon princess, but upon watching Di Xiaowan and Chu Yi's friendly bickering, she just couldn't help but get a little jealous inside. Di Xiaowan, how come I don't see Bai Yan around, where is she? Chu Yi kept looking around but found none of the reason for which they came to this place. Displeased in her voice, how come she's coming out to meet us? I heard from Bai Yan's mother that she's currently in the demon realm. Stalling for a second due to the question, the demon princess quickly came back to her senses and blurted out the truth. Huh? Why would she say that? Bai Yan is not in the demon realm, she's currently missing. What? Chu Yi's heart flew into a tense shock at the news. Showing a pale face, Bai Yan's missing. How can that be? Di Xiaowan, you better not be hiding her from us. I refuse to believe she's missing, I refuse to believe that. Xiaowan, why is my cousin missing? Lan Xiaoyan also appeared flustered with panic. Pressing her hands onto the demon princess's shoulder, tell me right now the last known location of her whereabout, I'll go look for her right away. If Grandpa finds out then he will likely collapse from the shock. Staying silent for a while longer, the demon princess finally got it and quickly remedied her own words, don't worry and let me finish before going all crazy on me. Bai Yan is missing, that's true. However, she came back already. Both human girls were frozen in their faces due to the sudden twist. Can you not say stuff halfway and leave it hanging? Don't you know it will scare us to death? You must have done this on purpose. Chu Yi huffs and huffs, you must be jealous of me that I got to share beds with Bai Yan over the years, that's why you deliberately left us hanging. It's your way of getting payback. Do you know you almost scared me death by telling us she's missing? Di Xiaowan's expression instantly turned green with envy, you and sister-in-law got to share a bed together. The Holy Land Princess proudly cocks her chin up as a confirming reply, of course, I not only got to share a bed with Bai Yan, I also got to snuggle with Xiaoqin at night and hold him like a soft pillow. Do you know how soft and cute he was when sleeping? Boom! In her fit of rage, the demon princess threw a punch directly at her friend who's clearly gloating. However, the demon girl also knew her powers were more than anyone could take since it's been recovered. Therefore, she made sure to miss by hitting the palace wall in the rear instead and smashing it apart. I don't care. When sister-in-law comes back I also want to sleep with her. I'm going to snuggle with Xiachen for at least a month before I stop. This time it was Lan Xiaoyan who spoke up, but aren't you afraid of your older brother? Chu Yi's older brother isn't scary, that's why she got away with it. If your brother the Demon King finds out, I'm sure he will rope you up and beat you. This time Di Xiaowan really wanted to cry tears of foul play. These friends, why do they always have to remind me of my mean brother? But Chu Yi got to sleep with my sister-in-law. The more she thought, the more unbalanced her heart became, which nearly pushed this demon princess over the edge in insanity. Acting like she's oblivious to her friend's annoyance, Chu Yi continues to gloat by adding salt to the wound. Bai Yan's body is so soft and smooth, oh how I miss it. Do you know how white her skin is? I couldn't even begin to describe how nice, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity you know, Chu Yi. Di Xiaowan grinds her teeth in frustration, unable to do a thing aside from that death glare. Contract Black Turtle, 6, suddenly, she grinned and got a sinister smile on that face. I will tell my big bro about what you said. This time it was Chu Yi's turn to look stiff. Emerging from the girl's mind was that grimly cold expression of a man, sneering and bring chill down her spine. I'm just kidding, please don't tell your brother this. I'm a little scared of him. Such a strong and possessive man, if he finds out she had shared a bed with Bai Yan then he would never let her get close again. Seeing she's won this quibble, Di Xiaowan proudly cocks her chin high to gloat. Let's see you gloat before me again. I can't fight with you anymore, but when it comes to verbal exchanges, you're not my opponent. Pumping those cheeks up in frustration, Chu Yi suddenly got this sensation that she's been disgraced by this sweet dumbaklutz. However, she's not glum enough to start throwing a tantrum. Regardless of what's going on or into the future, it doesn't change the fact that she got to sleep with Bai Yan and use Xiachen as a snuggle pillow. That fact alone was enough to continue her superiority over the demon princess. Di Xiaowan naturally got what her friend was thinking since she's not getting the sort of expected reaction. But then right before more words could be exchanged, a handsome and elegant face suddenly came into the girl's view. Happily calling him out, "State teacher." Without surprise or hesitation, the man met the call by slowly walking over, never once shifting his gaze away from the one woman whom he has an eye for. Lan Xiaoyun and Chu Yi also noticed the newcomer then. Who wouldn't when their sweet dumbaklutz was acting so happy and excited? In that instant when they saw him, both girls were absolutely blown away. Elegant, pristine, untouchable, these were merely the sort of words that came to mind against the man's aura. Coupled with the undisguised level of doting state teacher was making towards their friend, both of them were suddenly burning with the flare of being nosy brats waiting for the gossip to fly. Lan Xiaoyun elbows her friend and coughed a laugh. Isn't this the same state teacher Xiaowan always talk about? From what I can see by having them stand together, they're a perfect match. Back over in the human world, the demon princess would constantly blab her mouth away about her precious state teacher and of how nice he was to herself. They would be blind to not pick up the sort of passion within those words. Pity Di Xiaowan herself was such a sweet dumbaklutz, otherwise she too would realize her own emotions. Chu Yi didn't reply right away, instead caressed her chin while inspecting the elegant man. I've always been very good at discerning a person. Just look at the guy's interest in our Xiaowan. She is not going to get away from him, she's his for sure. The whispering conversation between the two didn't rouse much of a stir, rather it only made the man in question happier at the appraisal. These two are your friends? State teacher asks with his iconic gentle voice. Yes, nodded the demon princess, they are my friends from the human world. One is my sister-in-law's cousin, and the other is the dummy who's trying to steal my sister-in-law. Chu Yi's face instantly turned black like the bottom of a roast pan. What does she mean by the dummy who's trying to steal her sister-in-law? It's clearly her who stole Bai Yan away from me. I knew Bai Yan first, I'm first. You have always had few true friends, aside from Huang Xiaoying, these two are the only ones. Don't assume Di Xiaowan dislikes the tigress due to the sort of words she used in their conversation, they are in fact actual friends, the very few friends the demon princess actually had in this world. As for why there are so little, it's because most are either getting close in order to use the princess or get close to Ditsang using this channel. They aren't to be trusted. With a big smile, the girl wanted to speak again to introduce her friends to this one man whom she trusted. However, the wonderful mood was promptly foiled on by the frail and weak-looking female coming over from the entrance. Contract Black Turtle, 7, Your Highness. This bowing individual with that outstanding bodily features would be none other than the small fox brought back the other day, her name Chiu Yu. State teacher, Di Xiaowan ignored the stunning model of a female and turned to the man who has come as well. Has she been following you around? Over the years, state teacher has never been with another female, much less bring them around wherever he went. There's no way the princess wouldn't have strange ideas about the situation in this case. Naturally able to pick up on his crush's unhappy mood, the man soothes her by caressing that small head with his spoiling gesture. Didn't you say you will trust me? Nodding after a brief startle due to the intimate contact, I did. Yes, I should believe in state teacher, there's no way he would treat others differently. It's just that. As soon as that idea came to mind, her heart flared with heat due to how shocked she was inside. It can't be. I also have state teacher in my heart. Otherwise, why else would I care if he has someone by his side? I only accepted him because I wanted a cute little baby. Go ahead and take your friends for a good stroll. I got a surprise for you later once you get back. Gentle in his smile, the man suggests after seeing the others standing around doing nothing. Okay, Di Xiaowan giggles in her smiling face, glistening with hope for the supposed surprise. Then I'll wait for it. Xiaoyun, let's go, I'll show you around my home. After saying this, the princess pulled both her friends along and left, leaving only the tigress cluelessly standing around in the background. Huang Xiaoying understood she's been forgotten of course, but, instead of being depressed at being left behind, she's more intrigued by the sparks flying between the princess and state teacher just now. Oh, I need to get this information back to Pa and grandmother. This is huge news. Without delay, the tigress promptly abandoned the thought of being discarded and ran for the palace exit, which left the man and fox lady in the background staring at her back. Chiu Yu, the princess was kind enough to take you in, if you dare make her unhappy. State teacher coldly glances over to the model lady behind himself after a momentary delay. I will be the first to knot you off the hook. If not for the fact that he has something to do on the outside and didn't trust this unidentified woman to be alone, state teacher would otherwise never allow her to be near himself. The risk of something off happening remains way too high for his liking. Issue was, he couldn't let his woes be known to the princess just yet. Lord State Teacher, I didn't. Chiu Yu's eyes flashed with panic, kneeling there to show her sincerity. I don't care if you mean it or not, as long as you cause Xiaowan to be unhappy then it's your fault. The man snaps and cut her off. From this point forward you are not allowed to appear anywhere near the princess. If you do, the punishment will be severe. He would rather kill 1,000 than to allow one single mistake to bypass his guard. No risk shall ever get past his sight. As you command, my lord. Leave then, he waves his hand and dismisses her with cold indifference. Contract Black Turtle, 8, State Teacher. Before anyone knew it, Fourth Elder had somehow arrived from the back and come before the man. Smiling in his face, I can tell the princess is not indifferent to you. There's actually a solution we can use to have Her Highness stay away from this unknown woman. Turning to the elder, what's the solution? If you be nicer to this Chiu Yu, then the princess will dislike her some more. This white fox is too mysterious, it's far better to expel her as soon as possible. Fourth elder had furrowed up his brow by then due to remembering some of the past incidents. Not speaking for a moment, state teacher was obviously contemplating the idea. I will find out her identity first. If I know she's coming with bad intentions, then she won't get away with taking advantage of Xiao Wan's kindness. That only made fourth elder grow more anxious. Isn't that too much troublesome? We clearly have a faster way to get rid of this Chiu Yu. No, you are mistaken, fourth elder. If something is wrong with her background, I don't intend to let her go at all. I will kill her. Losing the usual gentle kindness in his eyes, this man who's been watching over the palace started to reveal the dangerous side that's within him. What's more, the solution you proposed will hurt Xiao Wan. I won't do that, even if it's meant to protect her. He's trying to marry the girl, not drive her into a jealous rage. No man would do something so silly. What if she gets payback on him somewhere down the line after their marriage, or worse, she runs off and find another man? Fourth elder's expression grew slightly calmer after getting more detail. If that's your decision, I won't say more. I will send some of the cleverer maids to her highness's side for protection. You and His Majesty have protected the princess far too well over the years, that's why she's so pure-hearted inside and allowed so many to target her. Don't assume Di Tsang doesn't care about his younger sister, the Demon King does care. It's just that in comparison to a wife and son, the sister naturally has to step aside. Above the noisy streets of the Demon Realm's capital, Chu Yi was currently holding a box of pastries in her hand when speaking to the girls next to herself. Xiao Wan, do you have feelings for that state teacher? Subconsciously vetoing the idea. No way, I and state teacher are too familiar with each other. How could I take him as a lover? I regard him as a brother. There's nothing between us. Is that so? But aren't you going to marry the guy? Marry? Oh, that. I want to have children, and he will help me make lots and lots of lovely children. That's why I'm marrying him. Di Xiaowan once again brought up the image of the steambun's adorable face and how lovely and cute the little guy was. If my children can be as cute as Shuchen, then I can die happy. At this point both Chu Yi and Lan Xiaoyun were flabbergasted and popping their eyes out. Don't like the guy but still marry him? Then what's the deal with that jealousness? Does she think we're stupid or something? Xiao Wan, you need to cherish the guy if you have even the tiniest speck of feelings for him. Lan Xiaoyun bites her lip, otherwise you will regret your words somewhere down the line. Contract Black Turtle, 9, just as her big brother regretted it at that time. Lan Xiaoyun doesn't want her friend here doing the same thing with that guy they just met. Regarding Lan Xiaoling, who's the eldest in the Lan house, the guy had wanted to be with the female queen of the Feng Qi kingdom since he's been smitten with her. Sadly, due to various reasons like his own self-esteem and the situation with his family's deteriorating status back in the day, the guy didn't have the courage to pursue that love. Then as Bai Yan returned and brought the Lan house to new heights, the situation suddenly got reversed and it was the female who felt inferior. In the end neither of the couple could get together and remained circling around with no end to their predicament. Perhaps the topic was making the air too heavy for Chu Yi. Before she knew it, a helpless expression could be seen along this holy land's princess face. Yi, do you have someone you like too? Lan Xiaoyun asks after noticing the oddity. Huh? Chu Yi subconsciously shook her head out of reflex. How is that possible? I don't like anyone. In any case, I hope that both of you would take advantage of the opportunity when it comes your way. You might just regret it if you let it slip your hands. Lan Xiaoyun's face was firm in this topic. If I ever fall in love with a man one day, then I won't let anything get in my way. No matter their background or status, I will see it through. Towards that determined face of her friend, Chu Yi's mind instinctively recalled back to a youthful and handsome face. Surprised by her own involuntary reaction, the Holy Land princess promptly shook it off. How can I like him? Though she says that, the frail image of that teen remains firmly imprinted onto her heart when Bai Yan destroyed the Bai house. It's too impactful, a young man standing alone before a burning pyre filling up that estate. Xiao Wan, aching inside after remembering the past, Chu Yi asked the one thing her heart really wanted to know: did your brother get any news about Bai Zhao's whereabout? Not thinking much of that question, which came out of nowhere considering the conversation never went there, the demon princess casually tells what she knew. I am not very clear about that, I only know my big bro left as soon as he woke up. Oh right, why are you asking about Xiao Zhao's whereabout all of a sudden? He's after all Bai Yan's younger brother. If he goes missing then she will be very worried regardless of what she says, that's why I'm asking. In order to not rouse any suspicion from the two friends, Chu Yi tries hard to look calm and steady on the surface. I'm only just asking, just asking. Bai Xiao was so kind to me back in the Luhua kingdom, it's only normal I ask about him since he's been gone so long. I'll ask about him once my big bro returns. Di Xiaowan says, her lip puckering into a displeased frown. Xiao Xiao is so lucky, having Bai Yan care about him so much, totally unlike my big bro who only knows how to pick on me. He's nothing like state teacher who's always kind and gentle. From the words of this demon princess, one could hear the level of grievance she has about Di Tsang. Coupled with the vastly different treatment between herself and Bai Yan and her boy, the girl only got more pessimistic inside. Don't be sad Xiao Wan, my cousin Bai Yan is also your family, she loves you too. Also, your older brother isn't that bad to you. That last bit only made the demon princess even more depressed as she breaks out crying, but he's always scaring me. It's either scolding me or calling me stupid, saying I will help my kidnapper count the money after they sell me. My brain just isn't enough to deal with those things. How am I supposed to know those people are out to kidnap me? Contract Black Turtle, 10, is it my fault that I was born slower and not sinister enough like everyone else? I can't do anything about my own birth, okay? Di Xiaowan mopes inwardly, frowning on the surface due to her own circumstances. Lan Xiaoyun also didn't know how to comfort her since in her eyes this demon princess was indeed silly and sweet to an irregular level. It's no wonder that strong and powerful older brother of hers would pick on her. Xiao Wan, you initially scared us by saying Bai Yan was missing, and now she's found. Which is it, she's missing or she's not? Chu Yi blinks her eyes in confusion. She's in the celestial realm. Then how do we get there Xiao Wan? I want to look for Bai Yan, and my brother. I haven't seen my brother for a long time already. What's more, Chu Yi has a hunch that Bai Xiao would be there as well. She couldn't stop thinking about the guy since he left and would repeatedly think back to him without intention. Are you going to Celestial Realm? Di Xiaowan appears surprised. I likely won't be able to accompany you there. If my big bro finds out then he will kill me. How about this, I can have the Tiger Chief send you to the Celestial Realm if you wish. Tiger Chief? Is it Huang Xiaoying's family? Yes, the current Tiger Chief is Huang Xiaoying's father. But if that tigress also wants to follow you to that place then make sure to not let her meet Little Rice. It doesn't take much for the demon princess to connect the dots of her friend tagging along. Why? A female in heat is too scary. I'm afraid she'll scare my sister-in-law's little pet. Di Xiaowan has a relatively short fuse when it comes to protecting those close to herself. Since Bai Yan's pet tiger doesn't like the tigress then it makes no sense to shove them together, right? Chu Yi and Lan Xiaoyun both exchanged a look between themselves, understanding what it meant and the difficult path Huang Xiaoying would be on in order to get a husband. Meanwhile back over in the celestial realm. Bai Yan had just gotten herself comfy in the bed when a gush of wind blew open the door to her bedroom. By the time the demon queen opened her eyes, a powerful pair of hands had already pulled her into an embrace. Di Tsang, you've come, Hoarse in his voice, the man's gentle demeanor stroked at the woman's senses. Since you didn't go back to the demon realm, I decided to come to you instead. I believe you still owe me something from before. As soon as he finished that, the Demon King leans downwards and kissed the female in his embrace, all the while swinging the door close with a mere whisk of his sleeve. 8 years. It's been 8 years since he had any taste of this fine delectable woman. Many times Di Tsang would have the urge to rush out of hiding and take her, but every time he would suppress the desire out of his love for her. And now, he's finally able to release all the pent-up frustration rearing to pop from his groin. There's no way he would let her sleep tonight. Big brother, what's father and mother doing in there? And when did father arrive? How come I didn't know? Outside the courtyard was Di Ling Yen, the peachy baby who's eyeing the closed door with curiosity. Hurrying to cover his little sister's mouth, Bai Xiachen quickly pulls her backwards. Be good, Ling Yen, mother and father are making babies right now, we shouldn't disturb them. Otherwise, father will hit people if we do. At first the steam bun also didn't understand the reason for his parents' close intimate exercise at night, but ever since he went to Earth and got his hands on those dirty magazines left around by the mortals in the Water Clan, he's learned some things and matured to another level. But, it looks like it's very painful for mother. How about we not have father and mother make more babies? I don't want mother to be in pain. Bai Xiao, 1, Ling Yen, I know a really fun place we can go, would you like to come with me? Bai Xiachen smiles brightly, his eyes flashing with the cunning light of a fox. Sure enough, the peachy baby girl's attention was swiftly shifted away with that idea. Okay, but can we bring Jean Tian with us too? No matter when or where, the twin sister would always remember her twin brother, they're both of the same coin. Come, let's go find Jean Tian and Dragony. We mustn't disturb father and mother. Leading the way, the steam bun held his sister's hand and left without looking back. With the setting of the sun came the rising of the moon. Inside the bedroom, Bai Yan's ravaged body lay helplessly atop of her husband's as sweat soaked her skin due to the excessive exercise they just committed. Di Tsang. She grinds her teeth in frustration after gathering her breath. The wife here still hasn't gotten over the intensity and madness this guy did to her despite the pleas for mercy. Grinning mischievously like a sly dirty fox that he was, the evil smile of the man only showed the level of egotistic pride he had in what he's done. Yen Yen, your flavor is so beautiful and mesmerizing, I can never get enough of you. You beast. This guy is a beast, a perverted and mindless beast. Not rejecting the claim, Di Tsang once again reverted back to his animalistic instincts and worked his hip and pushed. Of course I'm a beast that only wants to ravage you. It's never enough for him, he must have more. And sure enough, through a quick turn of positioning from bottom to top, the perverted bastard of a demon king thrusts into his wife for the second time, plowing right through the already tired barrier and continued the sexual act. He's truly ruthless today and intends to make her crippled in bed for days on end after tonight. Under the glistening moonlight, a man donning a snow-colored robe stood atop of a treetop near the inn, his back appearing lonely and sad as he watched the two black silhouettes stacked atop of each other. It doesn't take much for this person to understand what they're doing inside. Unable to bear this pain, he eventually turned and left lest he loses to his emotions to barge in there and separate the two. Wandering aimlessly through a forest, Chui God eventually came to a halt after sensing an energy signature nearby. God, coming out from hiding was a woman donning a long blue dress, her face veiled with a thin silk to give off an outer appearance beauty and purity. What are you doing here? He asks with that forever emotionless voice of his. I came to see you. Yun Roashi's gaze was as captivated as ever towards this man. It's so bad that the woman had started to approach without thought. You never divulged my locations to Bai Yan and Di Tsang, is it because your heart still has me in there? After she was rescued, she had gone to meet with Chui God on several occasions, never once did the man before herself reveal her location. Otherwise, she wouldn't be standing here anymore. Bai Xiao, 2, I'm always ready to be your wife, if you want me to. She says, eyes blazing with hope for the answer. Not turning to face the old witch, Chui God continues to have his back on her. You are overthinking things. I didn't kill you because there's still value in your existence. If it weren't for Yun Roashi, Bai Yen wouldn't have gone to the demons. If it weren't for Yun Roashi, he wouldn't be in this precarious state of not being able to see her again for a full millennium. He hates this woman standing behind himself. It's past the point of being mere emotions anymore. In fact, it's burned into his bones that he would tear her soul apart. No, I don't believe it. I know you have feelings for me. The truth suddenly sent the old witch into a hysterical burst of self-denial. God, I love you, don't you know I did everything for your sake? Why won't you accept me, why? She has lost to Bai Yen once, this time she won't lose again. That remark finally got the celestial lord to face her. Even so, those eyes were that of strangers with no warmth, only cold indifference. What you do is always for yourself. Boom! There seemed to be a lightning strike manifesting above their heads, striking the old witch until her heart's a charred thick pile of dust. It became difficult to breathe, like she's suffering from incredible pain in the chest. Clearly what the man said hurts, a ruthless rebuke to the lie that's keeping her going after losing it all. Again, the impressionable picture of their first meeting relapses back into her mind like always when she's about to lose her mind. It's the image of young love, the most important time to shape a person's character. Then why did you make me fall in love with you? I fell in love with you, yet you won't take responsibility. Tears filled those eyes as she cried this out aloud. Not moved in the slightest. If only, you had never fallen in love with me, that would have been better. That way then those tragedies from 1,000 years ago would not have happened. Bai Yen would not hate him to the core. Yun Roashi's trembling body instantly froze over like an iceberg. If her heart had been pierced 1,000 times by his harsh refusal, then the words just now was a crushing blow to her sanity. Did he just say he wished I hadn't fallen in love with him? Ha! Funny, how laughable. In her lapse of having a breakdown for the next while, Yun Roashi started to ooze a foul aura that seeped into the environment. It's disgusting, turning everything it touches to death and rot. If only the celestial lord had remained after pushing her over the edge, if he did then he would instantly strike her down. This transformation from the old witch was far too corrupt even for Chui God to turn a blind eye. Sadly, the man had left earlier and didn't witness the change. Bai Yen, if it weren't for you then Chui God would have fallen in love with me. You clearly have the Demon King already, why are you stealing what's mine? I won't ever let you go, never. Yes, everything that's wrong in her life was the fault of Bai Yen. It's not her own deceit and lies, it's not her own treacherous scheming and foul heart, it's all someone else's. Vowing for revenge was one thing, actually carrying it out was another. Yun Roashi was no fool. She knows Bai Yen and Di Tsang remains out of her reach. Getting up from the ground through much struggle, she sneered at the dark open sky and disappeared through a rip in the fabric of reality. Ever since the cold lifeless bodies of Keeper Ling and Keeper Zun were thrown back over to the Celestial Palace, those remaining defenders had fallen into a great mess of panic and fear. Bai Yen kept her promise of course, she herself didn't seek revenge on those people. However, that didn't stop the demons rearing for the chance of revenge. As a result of this instability and the disappearances of the other keepers, the entire celestial realm has fallen into rampant strife and danger. Bai Xiao, 3, Dawn. Inside the inn, Di Tsang had just swung open the door when the stumbling Bai Xiachen rolled uncontrollably through the open entrance and into his parents' view. Batty father. Shamelessly calling out in a bemoaning voice despite being caught red-handed, I am here to say good morning to mother. You came to say good morning to your mother? Then how come you are using a Dan pill to help cover up your presence before coming? What do you take your old man for? Di Tsang asks with a snarky grin. Acting oblivious like he doesn't know what his old man was saying, I merely ate one of the snacks mother made me, I didn't know what effects it had. Batty father, I really don't know what you're implying. He's just a kid anyways, not like anyone could do anything to him if he doesn't admit to eavesdropping on his parents. Di Tsung openly laughed at his boy's excuse. Picking the brat up by the back collar, he pats the steam bun on the head in a praising manner. As expected of our son Yen Yen, he inherited all my good points. Propping her head up by leaning against the palm of her hand, Bai Yen lazily glances over from the bedside, and that is? Shamelessly thick-skinned. Bai Yen appeared so shocked that she's either stupefied by the dumb answer or just dead inside. Does Di Tsung really consider that a good point? Mother. Breaking free from his old man's grasp, the boy opens up his arms and pounced at the bed where Bai Yen laid. I want a hug. Bai Yen heard this of course and promptly answered the jump by catching her boy with open arms as well. She's more than happy to give him a morning hug, just like when he's a cute little baby. However, the Demon Queen's forgotten there's a husband she must attend to in this case, especially when her own inner dress was partially loosened for all to see. Without letting their son actually make contact, Di Tsung had caught the boy jump and swung around just as fast, tossing the steam bun out the door without any force but enough to send him out into courtyard's grass. Bang! Batty father, you open the door. Bai Xiachen desperately hammered away at the closed room using his hands. That voice sounds so wrong that it's difficult to listen. I already gave you and mother some alone time, you can't hog mother forever. I want to be with mother, so you open the door. He continues to hammer away to no avail. Ignoring the ruckus outside the room, Di Tsung swings around to his wife and locks onto those delicate breasts that's clearly flashing before his eyes. Put your clothes on. Pricking her eyes up at her husband's order, but he is my son. Besides, I'm not completely naked, only a little that can be easily covered with a knot. You aren't to be seen by other men below the neckline. Bai Yan's mouth twitched. He is only 8 years old, not a man. That word only applies to those without a third leg. Are you saying our son doesn't have a third leg? Di Tsung counters with his own logic, refusing to budge on the issue. But Jin Tian is only 2. He's not allowed either. Jin Tian is also a male, though still a baby, but still a male. Yen Yen, why don't we go for a few more daughters? This way Xiachen won't be able to pester us by preoccupying his energy with someone else. Flashing an evil light in his scheming eye, Di Tsung fires off his evil grin of doing something devious. Sure enough, the Demon King carried out his evil thoughts by pouncing like his son at Bai Yen and removed all the clothes in its entirety. Bare and naked, man and woman unites and bonds into one single ball in that bed once again, raising the hormone in the room to an abnormal level. Bai Xiao, 4, wait. Bai Yen attempts to stop her husband's advances by pressing the palm of her hand against that big powerful chest. I still have other things I want to ask you, hold it. Di Tsung stopped his ill-behaving hands at the order, staring down at the panting woman beneath himself. Of course, my dear wife, I will answer anything and everything that you wish of me. Have you gotten any news about my brother Bai Zhao's whereabout? Now that peace has returned to the celestial realm, I want to bring him home with us. It's also the reason why I made such a big fuss before. It's to let him know what I've done. She did not forget the bothered face of her brothers when they met over at the Demon City. Originally Bai Yen had wanted to get the details and help. Sadly, the following fighting and such went out of her hands and caused her to miss that opportunity. I'll send someone to look for him. Don't worry, he'll be all right. Bai Yen moved her mouth to say something else but quickly stopped midway since there's nothing else they could do at the moment. I hope you're right. In this world, aside from her husband and children, Bai Xiao would be the Demon Queen's closest family. If anything happens to him without her knowledge, this lady would never be able to forgive herself. To the north of the celestial realm, there lies a frostbitten region of mountainous terrain, more commonly known as the Snow Realm. This part of the world never gets to see the light of spring, nor the greens of nature, only the snowy white landscape of ice and cold. Even so, life persists here and where it shouldn't, and a city had sprouted out from the ground suitable for human inhabitants. Of the several clans making this frostbitten field their home, the strongest would be none other than the Snow Clan, a suitable name considering the climate and environment. Normally there wouldn't be anything special to be of note in this frostbitten region where survival was a constant challenge for mortals, mostly just the occasional traveler or scuffle between clans. However, something major did occur in recent days. According to the rumors, the Snow Clan's greatest treasure, the Millennium Ice Lotus, had merged with an outsider after coming into contact with him. The person had no relationships to any clan, so this scandal took headline news among the residents of this city. Even more astounding was the consequences of this merger. It had sent the young man into a comatose state. Naturally, the Snow Clan's leading chief wouldn't be pleased at having their greatest treasure stolen by an unknown stranger that came out of nowhere. To remedy the situation and without the consent of the person itself, the Snow Clan decides to take in this young lad and have him marry into the clan. That way they would retain the Millennium Ice Lotus without it being lost. Snow Lotus, I have decided in this matter, that teenager must marry into our family. Of the girls in our family, only you are the most suitable of age. I'm sorry, but you must do this. Speaking this inside a grand estate was the current chief of the Snow Clan, Snow Hawk. Biting her lip in grievance, the girl by the name of Snow Lotus angrily lashed out, I don't want to. I refuse to marry some unknown boy that came out of nowhere. What if he's just some random nobody from the mountains? So what if he fused with the Millennium Ice Lotus? We can just kill him and pluck it out from that body afterwards. Why must we do this? That guy is just some nobody, how can he compare to my big cousin? And the Millennium Ice Lotus, it should have gone to big cousin instead. I was just about to take it to him from the vault when this bastard came out of nowhere and ruined everything. Snow Hawk frowned, my dear, how can you be so short-sighted? Father only wants the best for you. The Millennium Ice Lotus recognized him as the host because of his constitution. He's bound to achieve greatness in the future. I'm not just marrying you to him in order to keep the Lotus within our clan's control, but rather also betting on the young man's future. Perhaps somewhere down the line he would be able to bring great wealth and power to us if he becomes a member of the family, do you understand? Snow Lotus simply snickered a sneer at her father's wishful thinking. Father, you are putting too much hope into some stranger you never met. He's just a nobody. I suspect the guy came specifically to scheme after our clan's wealth. Why else would he show up out of the blue? Also, which part of him look amazing? I can't sense an ounce of strength in his body. He's nothing like big cousin who's big, strong and manly. Enough. Snow Hawk snaps and gets serious in his voice. I've decided on the matter, and that's that. You will marry him on the prenuptial day set by the matchmaker. From this day forward you are not allowed to step 1 foot outside the estate. I will be ordering the guards to keep a close eye on you, so don't try anything. By Xiao. 5, Lotus's expression changed for the worse after the lecture. Stomping her feet in frustration, the Missy promptly turns around and dashed away. However, instead of returning to her own room after leaving the gathering hall, she instead went to the guest room that's located next to her own courtyard. Lotus, a warm and watery-sounding voice calls out from the rear before she could walk inside. Big cousin, the Missy saw who it was after swinging around and immediately got all teary and sad that wanted nothing but sympathy from the other side. What's going on? Does uncle still want to marry you to that outsider? Wen-Yi asks the girl with a furrowed temple. I'm sorry big cousin, I wasn't able to have the Millennium Ice Lotus recognize you as its host and allowed another to steal it from under you. Lotus's cheek had gone red from anger. Worst of all, my father is dead set on marrying me to that guy. He's absolutely certain the outsider will become someone great in the future. The Ice Lotus may be a family treasure of the Snow Clan here, but it's by no means a tool or artifact. It's in fact a medicinal ingredient, a plant at its core. However, due to its long age and lifespan, the plant had come to grow a spirit of its own, meaning it's not much different from a spirit beast with a mind that's capable of making its own decisions. On top of that, the lotus wouldn't disappear after being fused with its host ether, it would remain inside and continuously supply the user with spiritual energies. So, what does that mean? Simple, the host's strength would grow at an exponential rate without much effort. It's like being constantly injected with power from within instead of having to absorb the energy from the air like everyone else. Flickering a dangerous light in those eyes after hearing the bad news, Wen Yi the Missy's cousin quickly controlled his inner rage and spoke with his wooing voice, "Lotus, I want to marry you by using my own virtues and my own strength, not by relying on the Millennium Ice Lotus. Please do not compare me with that outsider. I can tell he's after your family's power and influence, that's why he forcibly integrated himself with the Lotus." Apparently taken aback by the accusation, Snow Lotus stops her whimpering and stares at the man. "You mean, he forcibly fused with the Ice Lotus? Didn't it choose him?" But that day everyone saw how the Ice Lotus fused with the outsider. He fell beside the flower after succumbing to his injuries, that's why the blood touched the lotus and marked him. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. When he cocks the corner of his mouth into a "I know it" smirk, if not for the forced fusing, why else would that outsider be in a coma still? The Ice Lotus had already healed his injuries, there's no reason for him to remain unconscious. This is the work of the Ice Lotus, it's punishing him for the transgression. Dazed in the face due to the conflicting idea, the girl's mind was starting to sway. Toward such behavior, I Wen Yi only have disdain for those who would turn to such underhanded means. So what if the Snow clan is powerful and influential? I would never connive after such material things. If I want something, I will only take it by using my own ability, never others. That said, the guy also used his hands to tidy up the loose strand of hair in front of the young lady's forehead. But I'm about to marry that guy. Snow Lotus unwillingly bites her lip. Originally she just didn't want to marry a stranger, but now she's absolutely disgusted with the person after listening to all the foul things from her cousin here. "Silly, how can I let you marry someone else?" Wen Yi saw his words are working. Going in for the kill by pecking the girl on the forehead, I've already thought of a way. There's no need to think about this, we will forcibly take back the Ice Lotus from the outsider. But, my father said we can't get the Millennium Ice Lotus back even if we killed that person. By Xiao, 6, getting clearly sharper in his gaze, the guy by the name of Wen Yi begins to spout his prearranged verse that he thought ahead of time. Your father is only tricking you into marrying that outsider by using that excuse. The Millennium Ice Lotus can easily be pried out of the person once he's gutted, do not believe anything else. Know this, my dear Lotus, I only want what's best for you and your clan. I cannot watch idly by while someone evil is going after your family's treasure. In other words, all that he's doing was for the sake of others and not himself. There's not an ounce of selfishness in him. Obviously moved based on how blurry her eyes had become from the wet fluid slowly trickling out, "Big cousin, you are so kind to me. You must become the next head of the Snow clan, only then will your efforts not be wasted. That outsider is sure to bring ruin to our clan." Knowing he's got her, Wen Yi went ahead and pulled the girl into his arms, those fingers wrapped firmly around the waistline to not let her go. Also, it's to keep Lotus's line of sight from the dark sinister smirk that he's making. The guy's taller than the girl, so when she leaned that head against the man's chest, there's no way for her to notice. Guest room of the Snow clan. As the sun's ray pierced through the open window, the teen who's laying atop of the bed only appeared pale and distraught. The guy's dreaming, a dream about himself running through an open tundra surrounded by miles and miles of long snowy mountains in view. It's not that the guy wanted to flee through this freezing terrain, rather he's being chased by many ferocious-looking animals in the rear. In his frantic urgency to save himself, he eventually slipped and came crashing down into the ice, leaving a streak of blood through the ground as a result of the mishap. That was it, he knew there's no running after this. Closing his eyes in fear, the guy in the dream shivers uncontrollably at the impending death. Yet. The expected slash from a razor-sharp claw never came. Confused by the delay, he slowly opens a gap through those closed eyelids and peeked. It's there that he met her, that brilliant figure standing in front of himself and blocking the animals from eating him. "You bunch are so bold." The girl's voice sounded crisp and cold, yet easy to the ear. "Didn't I say no demon or demon beast is allowed to attack humans without strong reasoning? Did you all forget my orders already?" Originally the demonic beasts surrounding the youngster were still rearing to go at him, but after that harsh tongue lashing, they promptly retreated away with a longing affection for their prey. It's not often they would come across an easy human for food, therefore it's no wonder they would be so adamant about leaving. After the predators had all retreated and left the scene, the girl finally turned around to offer a helping hand. "How are you? Are you hurt anywhere?" Unsure at first on how to react, the teen stammered for a proper reply before he pulled himself together. "I'm all right, just now, thank you for the help." "Don't mind it," the girl smiled, "I can tell your abilities are quite low. Here, take this lotus flower, it will help you. But before using it, you must use your own blood to feed it every morning for 100 days to make it recognize you as its owner. Afterwards the lotus flower will continuously feed your blood with energy and repair any injury you suffer." Slowly taking the flower offered to himself, the youngster shows confusion at the gracious gift. "Why are you going this far to help me? We don't know each other." "It's nothing special, I'm only doing it for my own pleasure. I can see my past shadow in you. Thankfully I'm better off now since Grandpapa took me in at the Celestial Palace, otherwise I would still be hunted by those people." In that moment, the girl's smiling face became firmly etched onto the young man's heart, bringing light and hope into his gloomy life of constant struggle and danger. By Xiao, 7, looking at the direction of the girls departing back, the teenager didn't know what else to do aside from silently clenching the gift in his hands. Then a thought hit him, bringing purpose to his own life and why he should live. "I will definitely repay you for your kindness. Wait for me. Once I get strong enough, I will find you and swear my loyalty to you." Unfortunately, that vow would never come of fruition, for the girl herself had already perished from this world once he's grown strong enough to safely move on his own. Meeting yet also a farewell, tragedy of fate itself. Some time into the future, the snow remains a forever blanket in this northernmost reach of the celestial realm. There are no more ferocious looking to make him their dinner, no more kind-hearted girl to give him a helping hand, only himself standing there and peering into the far-off horizon. "I listened to you, I watered the lotus with my blood every morning and gained incredible strength compared to what I had. But now, you are gone and I still standing here. Why didn't you wait for me? By the time I came out to search for your whereabout, all I got is your terrible fate." Gripping his fist like he wants to challenge the world itself, "I refuse to believe their lies, there's no way you are an evil scourge to the celestial realm. Those hypocrites, all they ever know is to look out for their own interest and ignore those like me who needs help in the dark corners of this world. I will make them pay for this. A blood debt must be paid with blood. They took your life, and now I will take theirs as payment." That said, tears began to flow down the young man's cheek. "Maybe I will be able to meet you again in the afterlife." Outside the Celestial Palace some days later. Who goes there? An old man who's clearly in charge of watching over the entrance gate yells at the coming young man. "I'm here to avenge her." Sneering in the face, the young man proudly proclaims as he continued to move forward. Even if he's no match for the keepers of this place, he won't back down. Death doesn't scare him. "I don't care who you are, but coming to the Celestial Palace and causing chaos is punishable by death." At the old man's word, the soldiers and defenders all began to brandish their weapons and quickly surrounded the intruder. With a few jabs of the spear and slashes of the sword, holes riddled the person and left him critically injured. If left unattended, he's sure to die from these wounds. With only that measly strength and you still dare to come cause trouble. The old man contemptuously stares down at the guy, his voice sarcastic and mocking since he believes the upper hand lies with him. I know I'm weak, but she saved my life. Even if she doesn't know who I am nor know my name. I still owe her for all I have right now. Ha ha ha. Growing hysterical in his laugh, the young man flexes his muscles and sent the blades and spears jabbed into his body flying outward. At the same time, his body also began to swell bigger and bigger as smoke exuded out of his pores. Self-destruct. A look of horrified fear instantly yanked the old man back to reality and sent him into alarm. He's not here to fight, but to die. He wants to take us with him. Wiping the corner of his mouth to remove the blood, the teen bellows out a powerful laugh since he's got what he wanted. Today, even if I die here, I will drag some of you to hell with me. Whatever I owe her, I will repay it in the next life. Boom! At that signal, an immense and catastrophic explosion rocked the area, mists of blood scattered across the horizon and created a mushroom cloud in its wake. For this blast, most of the weaker defenders were instantly crushed at the scene, with the only surviving being that old man in charge with an arm blown off. Bai Xiao, 8, flashing forward into his next dreams, all were of similar nature, where he would constantly search for a girl that him willingly sacrificed himself in the first one. Of course, he didn't understand any of it and why he's searching. Sadly, like all the rest, he would never meet the individual, only dying alone of old age through years of training and cultivation. Well, that sad fate eventually did come to an end when he finally got asked a certain question by a specific female inside the Bai clan's manor. Why are you so good to me? And he, out of the blue, answered in the oddest way, perhaps it's my way of repaying a past debt from another life to you. In the Snow Clan's guest room, the teen who's been unconscious up till now finally loosened his furrowed forehead, letting a drop of tear to slowly trickle down the side and soaking the bed sheet. I see. I became her brother in this life because she saved me in a past one. I came here for her, willingly to do anything to repay that debt. Unbeknownst to Bai Xiao himself, the sudden act of himself shooting open those eyes had startled the dagger-wielding girl beside his bedside. One could say he got very lucky in this moment, for who knows what this female had intended for him. You, the panicking young girl quickly hides her blade and asked with biting lips, you're awake? This is bad, father will definitely come check on the loud commotion if try to gut him. Aha! Dry and hoarse like he's dehydrated, Bai Xiao slowly turns his head to the left side to meet the girl who's known as Snow Lotus. Frowning after scanning the unfamiliar bedroom and its layout, where am I? Lotus actually found herself unable to respond for a short moment there. Not for being asked a simple question, of course, but rather due to the extremely manly and attractive voice she just heard. Even so, her drive to rid her family of this outsider remains strong, especially when she believes the person intends to steal her clan's treasure and wealth at the cost of marrying herself. Good, you're awake now, we can go look for my father. Snow Lotus cocks her chin up as she spoke like she's superior to him in every way. I will not marry you so you can forget about doing that. I already have a guy that's way better than you. He's self-reliant and strong, totally unlike you. Also, quit having wishful thoughts about me, that will never happen and nothing can change my mind. Bai Xiao's expression turned into a frown from the initial confusion due to that burst of one-sided nonsense. I do not know you, nor do I want to marry you. Snow Lotus stared in surprise. This guy said he doesn't want to marry me. Didn't he steal the Ice Lotus in order to marry me? That way father will have no choice but to force. Why is he trying to deny it now? Are me trying to play hard to get with me? Lotus grinds her teeth viciously like a humiliated cat. I've met enough bastards like you who only knows how to act like they're not interested. Do you think I will believe that? I demand you go to my father this instant to state you won't marry me, otherwise I would rather die than doing so. I am the daughter of the Snow Clan, who doesn't admire me in this northern ice land. Don't take me for a fool just because you got some acting skills. Bai Xiao, 9, Bai Xiao didn't want to waste more words with this girl who's clearly deaf in the ear. Pushing his arm to help himself up from the bed, the young lad didn't think much of the act until he suddenly came crashing down from the side and hitting the floorboard. That's how it dawned on him the condition he was in before falling unconscious. He became seriously injured and eventually went black. "You," Lotus reflexively jerked backwards to avoid the guy who made the abrupt move, "you won't get any sympathy from me even if you do this. I won't accept you so you can forget it. I would rather give the Snow clan to Big Cousin than to give it to him. No outsider will take my family's wealth and power away by using underhanded means. Only Big Cousin can bring glory to the family. I don't get what father sees in this guy." Due to the noise from the inside, one of the maids standing watch outside immediately came running in to help. However, Bai Xiao has never been accustomed to having strangers touch him, that's why he swiped the helping hand away without forethought. This wouldn't be anything special aside from being a bit rude, but in Lotus's view, this behavior only appeared even more disgusting, like he's trying to get her to personally help. "Don't think I can't tell, you not letting the maid help you is to have me do it. I'm stating this now, I won't touch you, not even a pinky. If I must help anyone, it will only be my cousin who gets it. You're such a delusional fool, don't think everyone can be so easily deceived by your act." Caring even less at the rant coming his way, Bai Xiao pulls himself back up using the bed corner. Sweating in the forehead as he spoke, "Scram." Stumbling backwards due to the outburst coming at herself, "Are you putting up a act again? It must be because I saw through his plan of acting hard to get, that's why he scolded me so that I would be more interested. Humph, I've seen too many people like that, always acting so cool and tempered before me. They're all the same, conniving after my family's wealth and influence. Only Big Cousin is different, only he would use his own abilities to achieve great things." Bai Xiao could tell his words would never get through this strange girl and decides to not even give it an effort. It's not like he needs to anyways. If he could move then he could leave, by then he would never need to speak to this unreasonable person. The only issue was would they let him leave, that's the main problem. "I'm warning you again, I will never marry you, so you better lose that idea. Your dream will never come true." With a glare as her final act, Lotus quickly turns for the door and ran outside. Once she was alone again, the young miss of this household immediately scans the surrounding for signs of others. Upon certain there's no one around, she promptly tosses the dagger hiding under her sleeve away. Only then did she head towards the guest room where her supposed lover resides. Wen Yi has been standing at the entranceway during this period. He's also part of the plot to kill Bai Xiao, so of course he would be wary. "Lotus, how did it go?" Making a aggrieved face as she walked over after hearing that, "I failed, that asshole woke up before I could move. I got scared since the commotion would alert my father." Without surprise, the gentle light in the man's eyes quickly shifted to that of disappointment, but he's not one to give up so easily. Pressing down his internal emotion, the guy pulls out his almost cooing voice, "It doesn't matter, a failure is a failure. Since he's awakened now, we only need to threaten him a bit to give up the initiative. You don't know Big Cousin, he's trying to play hard to get with me. There's no way he would let go so easily." Stomping her feet in frustration, Snow Lotus acts like she's been sexually harassed by the mere idea. Bai Xiao, 10, he insisted that he doesn't want to marry me, but guess what he did right afterwards? He fell on his own when getting out of the bed and wanted me to help support him. As if I would do that. In regards to the idea of playing hard to get, Snow Lotus have seen quite a lot of it in the past, that's not fake. As a result of that, her view about others are somewhat twisted and difficult to change, hence the current situation. But, apparently afraid her cousin there would misjudge her words, the girl quickly followed up with more, "I told him there's no way I will be his wife. Even if he tries to force me, only my corpse will be waiting for him. As for the Millennium Ice Lotus, I guess the guy is getting lucky in that regard." Wen Yi immediately lowered his head to avoid eye contact, but the light in his gaze had gotten very dangerous and sharp at the idea of losing the ice lotus. Humph, this stupid woman, as if I would let the ice lotus get away from my hands. Does she really think she's all that? If not for the Snow Clan's influence and power, I wouldn't even bother to spend so many years sugaring her up. Putting away his contemptible thoughts to continue in his act, when he forms the gentlest smile he could muster, how can I ever watch you suffer, Lotus? Know this, me wanting to pull the ice lotus out from that guy is for your sake, nothing else. I merely can't endure watching you marry someone you don't love, understand? Big cousin, the girl's eye got all red and watery, sending her right into his arms like a love-struck maiden. Only you would care about me so much. I promise I will do everything to help you, my heart and soul is yours and yours only. That asshole will never get my body. Care. A snickering laugh filled Wen Yi's mind at the idea of that word. How much is that worth? Caring for this idiotic woman is merely a mean to get what I want. After I'm done with her upon taking over the Snow Clan, I will make sure to stuff her into a cage and never let her out. There are so many more females out there, why should I be constricted to a single one? Not far above the snowy mountains, 3 young girls curled together into a shivering manner due to the extreme cold. Xiaoying, Tigress, are you sure Bai Yan is in this place? Chu Yi asks with clattering teeth as she squirmed from the low temperature. Originally Huang Xiaoying, the daughter of the current tiger chief, wasn't going to be part of the group to come to the celestial realm. However, the girl had gotten wind of the news before her old man and intercepted it. As a result, she was able to secretly drag the other 2 human girls away, claiming she knew the way. Sadly, the plan had gone awry somewhere along the way. They'd been walking for some time and never found a trace of Bai Yan anywhere, let alone a living creature in this desolated ice field. My grandmother told me we only need to head south to find the queen. Huang Xiaoying bites her thumbnail and answered honestly. She doesn't know the exact location, so she made sure to ask for the way before heading out. In that instant, both Chu Yi and Lan Xiaoyun were extremely horrified in their faces. Di Xiaowan is right, you are a big brainless woman with only big boobs. This is the north, we've been walking northward. Chu Yi, the Holy Land's own princess, jumps up and points her finger in an accusing manner at the tigress. Normally this Chu Yi wouldn't have such an outburst even if they went the wrong direction, but this Huang Xiaoying didn't even bother to tell them about the information from the old grandmother. Now they're even further than ever from Bai Yan's location. Did I go the wrong way? The tigress also turned green at the idea, her head stiffly looking around like she's finally realizing her own mistake. Stupid, you idiot, you're killing me. Chu Yi's beautiful eyes glared at the tigress like she wants to chew her out, however her temper instantly vaporized at the cold breeze that ran through her spine in the next. Forget it, let's find a place to rest first before heading back. Lan Xiaoyun gets up at the good suggestion, her teeth also clattering from the cold. Yeah, let's do that. I don't get it, I've never been affected by the weather since I started to cultivate, why am I feeling it now in this place? Exhaling to release a puff of white mist from her mouth, let's head to that city we saw back over that hill. We can get a room at the inn or something and warm up before heading back. Snow Lotus, Snow Moon, 1, let's go. Chu Yi rubs her shivering arms, we need to hurry, the sun looks like it's about to set. I don't want to be out here in the middle of the night. Aha! Huang Xiaoying, the tigress, whimpers in support, following closely behind the 2 so they won't be lost a second time. Fortunately the city in question wasn't that far from their location. Before long, the party had come upon a sign with the name Ice Realm clearly written on the surface. Watch out! Chu Yi had only taken the first step after seeing the sign when a loud hollering cry caught their attention from the forefront. Looking up, they could see a frantic 3-striped tiger speeding towards their location with another girl trying to give chase from the rear. It's obvious this out-of-control tiger belonged to that anxious-looking girl who's crying and calling for it stop. Xiaoyun, both of you step aside. Huang Xiaoying's expression got all serious and hurriedly pushed her two companions away to act as a shield for this rampaging animal. You stand right there. She locks onto the three-striped tiger and orders with her resounding roar-like voice. Perhaps it's due to that roar, or simply because they're both tigers, but Huang Xiaoying's words definitely had an effect and settled the poor animal. Even so, the frenzied look in those eyes did not disappear and remained strong despite being more subdued and not moving. Tigerly. The girl who's been chasing from the back wanted to take this chance to check on her precious friend, and the tigress promptly raised a hand out to stop it. You can't go over there, he's in a frenzied state and will hurt anyone that draws near. Then what am I supposed to do? Wiping some of the tear away, the poor girl weeps. My Tigerly have always been very good and would never hurt anyone. Why did he suddenly lose control like this? He even refused to listen to my words. Huang Xiaoying realized that the girl was sincere about caring for the three-striped tiger. Easing up in her stern face, did you feed him a tiger-tail grass? Tiger-tail grass, what's that? The girl appeared puzzled at the name. Tiger-tail is a medicinal material, useful for many types of recipes. However, tigers themselves can't eat it, otherwise they will become violent and lose control. Sister, can you help me save Tigerly? He is what mother left me before she passed away. I've been with him for many years, I don't want to lose him, the young teenager pleads, her face all red and flushed with emotion. Although in the celestial realm predominantly shun demons, but there's some who are able to contract with demonic beasts, provided they gain the approval of the animal itself. However, there are also many cases where the poor creature are tortured until they submit and forcibly enslaved. Don't worry, Tigertails has a time limit before its effect are worn off. We only need to wait and do nothing. But, the teenage girl casts a glance at her familiar before biting down on that lip. But, what am I going to do? People from the city are going to be coming through this area, I'm afraid they will encounter Tigerly and create a scene. If that happens, then the city officials will get involved, and then. Snow Lotus, Snow Moon, 2, if father finds out Tigerly will hurt someone from the city, then he will dispose of him for sure. By then even begging will be useless. Xiaoyun, Huang Xiaoying murmured in hesitation, if not, can we help her? To be precise, she wanted to help the three-striped tiger since she's the Tiger Clan's princess. Out of respect for her own kind, she's automatically obliged to have good feelings about the animal despite its inferior bloodline. Issue would be what the other two companions thought of the matter. She already made Chu Yi and Lan Xiaoyun late in reuniting with Bai Yan due to her own blunder, therefore it's shameful to ask for more. You want to help? Chu Yi shrugged like it's nothing, we're here anyways, another hour in delay won't matter much. Huang Xiaoying finally showed a bright smile, excitedly hugging the Holy Land princess as thanks. I really want to kiss you, but you are not my future husband Little Rice, so that hug will have to do. Chu Yi shuddered at the notion and subconsciously took 2 steps back. Woman and woman don't mix, you stay over there, otherwise I'll yell for help. If it hadn't been for her strength not being on par with this century-old tigress, the usual pampered princess of the Holy Land would have already dunked a few punches at her companion. Huang Xiaoying didn't mind the comment and happily got back to the business at hand. So where's your home? I will help bring your tiger back with you, and don't ever let him eat that tiger-tail grass anymore, otherwise the both of you won't be so lucky next time. The girl blinked in confusion. By the way, how come Tigerly is listening to you after he went berserk? When I was shouting at him to stop earlier, he ignored me completely. Huang Xiaoying hesitated. What was she supposed to tell her? Say she's the princess of the Tiger Clan from the demon realm? That the three-striped tiger stopped because of her superior bloodline lineage? This, murmuring for a while without thinking up a good excuse, probably because your tiger is a pervert, that's why he stopped at the sight of the beautiful Omi. Instantly, the sprawled-out tiger who's shivering on the ground bemoaned a growl in protest. Which part of me look like a pervert? I'm clearly stopping because of the bloodline suppression from you. On the contrary to the blank faces of others, the young teenage girl at hand believed that excuse full-heartedly. Why shouldn't she? Her familiar's safely at put and wasn't rampaging around. Then I want to grow up looking just as beautiful as you. That way Tigerly won't ever go on a rampage anymore. This girl, can she be as dunce as Di Xiaowan, demon princess? How can she even believe that obvious lie? Right, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Snow Moon, I'm the youngest daughter of the Snow clan and we're the biggest family clan around in this ice realm. I'll take you to my home so please follow me. After saying that, Moon wanted to reach out and pat her familiar's head when she came eye to eye with the glaring look of the tiger. Out of reflex, she instinctively flinched her hand backwards lest she be bitten. She's sad about this outcome, but more than sadness, Snow Moon was more confused about when her friend ate a tiger-tail grass. She knows that's not something she had in her possession, that's for sure. The Snow clan's estate wasn't very far from the city gates, therefore, it didn't take long for the group to arrive at Snow Moon's home where they came face to face with another female at the doorway. However, instead of being welcoming and warm, this peach blossom-looking woman only had disgust in those eyes when she examined the girls. Snow Moon, who are these people? Did you get father's consent in bringing outsiders into our city? Chu Yi and Bai Xiao, one, big sister, Snow Moon clenched that pink lip into a thin line like she didn't want to give the details. Just now Tigerly lost control and it was these three sisters here who saved him. If they leave then Tigerly will go into a frenzy again. Upon hearing that the three-striped tiger went berserk, Snow Lotus swiftly shifted her attention to the animal in question. Out of fear at recognizing the ferocious glare, she immediately took a few steps back. Fine, if they're here to look after your tiger then they can stay for now. But once Tigerly is fine then they are to leave immediately. Our Snow clan won't allow just anyone to sucker up to our feet. Without surprise, Chu Yi of the Holy Land instantly blew up after hearing that derogatory remark. She's the noblest young lady in the human world, who would dare speak ill to her in that manner? Since these people don't want us to stay then we can go. I'm not going to put up with this if this is how they're going to treat us. She grabs hold of her two companions and begins to walk away. Grawr. Without Huang Xiaoying's bloodline suppression, the three-striped tiger issued a growling roar in the next, its eyes red and thirsty for blood. Seeing this, Snow Moon, who's been trying to mediate the situation, quickly got teary and anxious. Big sister, what are you trying to do? These are my guests that I invited, you have no right to drive them away. Snow Lotus would of course be offended in the way her younger sister rebuked her, but she's also not blind to the danger that's quickly brewing nearby in the form of the tiger. It's already locking onto her body and fangs baring. Going pale at the dangerous possibility, I was just kidding. I didn't mean to drive them away. Chu Yi finally stopped her moving legs after hearing that, but her face wasn't that of complacent or happiness at being allowed to stay, it's contempt. That's too bad, we no longer want to stay. If not for Xiaoying asking us to help the three-striped tiger, we wouldn't even bother to waste time in this frigid place. Don't think people are going to come and go as you please just because you got some influence here due to your family background. Chu Yi has never suffered such indignation, not in the past and not into the future. As for Huang Xiaoying, who wanted to help the most, she too has been enraged by the maltreatment of the older sister here. Turning her head, this big-breasted dunce made it clear she's also displeased. And regarding Lan Xiaoyun, well, her temperament couldn't be called the best either. Sure, her abilities aren't at the level of the other two girls in her party, but that doesn't mean she would just take the insult. After all, she had her cousin Bai Yan to support her, what did she have to fear? Snow Lotus's expression changed for the worse after sarcastic remark, I'm not wrong. If these people are not here to lick their feet and gain some benefit then why else are they trying to get close to her younger sister? Only Moon is blind enough to believe them. I Chu Yi have never sucked up to anyone in my life, she proudly cocks her chin up, also, there is nothing in this world that is worth having me suck up to others. You, Snow Lotus gnashes her teeth and glared angrily at the Holy Land's princess. How can there be such a brazen person in this world? She clearly wants to take advantage of the Snow Clan's influence yet refuses to admit it. She's just like that bastard inside the estate. Both shameless to the core. Big sister. Snow Moon couldn't take it anymore and stomped her feet in frustration. They are my guests, so I will decide on the matter. If you cause Tigerly's death, then I will. I will die with you. Chu Yi and Bai Xiao, too, taking another few steps back in a hurry after hearing that growl, Snow Lotus bursts out screaming, "Crazy, you're all crazy. I'm done staying here with you nutcases. Moon, I pray for you that these people aren't coming with bad intention, otherwise, not even father will let you go." Giving a final glare at the Holy Land princess who dared to talk back, the pompous and rude miss of the Snow Clan twists around and fled back into her home. Xiaoyun, Xiaoying, we're leaving too, let's go. Chu Yi did not intend to stay despite winning the banter and pulled at her two companions' arm again. She's never suffered indignation before in all her life thus far, its frustration in making her very unhappy. Ah! Huang Xiaoying widened her eyes. She's somewhat reluctant to leave and gave a casting glance at the three-striped tiger. However, her indecision steadied at the remembrance of Snow Lotus's maltreatment and poor attitude. What are you dropping your mouth for? Didn't you hear what that woman said? She only knows how to look down on people. If anything goes missing in there, then I can guarantee you she will blame us for the theft. The annoyance clearly didn't leave yet, hence the sort of words coming out of Chu Yi's mouth. Yi is right, Lan Xiaoyun also chimes in after a moment of thought. Turning to Snow Moon, who's all anxious and worried, "I'm sorry Ms. Moon, we cannot help you anymore. You've heard what your elder sister said, we don't want to get mixed in with the problems of your family, so we can only keep our distance." But, Snow Moon's eyes immediately got all teary and red. She is her and I am I won't let something like that happen. Please, I beg you, please stay until Tigerly is back to normal. In the end, the plea finally moved the tiger princess. Stepping forward again, Huang Xiaoying speaks with intelligence for once. "Let's do this then, I will look after your three-striped tiger for the next hour until the effects wear off, since we won't be staying. I don't want to stay at this crummy place either, so everyone wins, how about that?" Perhaps the way of describing her home as crummy hit a sore spot for Snow Moon. Without delay, the younger miss of the Snow Clan began to let the tears roll down those cheeks until her existence shrunk into an insignificant pea-sized shape. Murmuring in her tiny voice, "Okay, I will have Tigerly follow you, please take care of him for me. I'll come pick him up in an hour." Chu Yi didn't have any objection to the tigress's idea of taking the feline with them. As long as they don't meet that foul-mouthed Snow Lotus, then it's all good. Let's go. Readying to leave for the third time now after giving both girls the signal, Chu Yi had just swung around when she overheard a banshee-like scream from the inner courtyard of the estate. "Ah! You asshole, you actually dare to undress before me. I already knew you were coming with bad intentions, but I didn't think you would be a pervert as well." Naturally, the annoyed Holy Land princess didn't want to stop again after so much back and forth, but the familiar voice that replied in the next second stopped her in her track. Scram! The sound was cold and heartless, but with the youthful greenness of someone they knew. Towards this voice, Lan Xiaoyun was equally as familiar because it's someone they've been wanting to meet as well. Exchanging a look with Chu Yi, both of these human ladies were making shocked faces like they didn't expect this at all. But of the most rash and tactless of the two, Chu Yi had to take the lead when she bolted for the inside in a hasty run. Inside a room. The Snow Clan's chief and Wen Yi had just barged into this room when they saw Lotus angrily lashing out at the occupant inside. "Lotus, what happened?" The girl's father asks with a frown on his face. Father. Lotus saw who had arrived and immediately flew into a grievance cry. Pointing accusingly at the half-naked teen, her face flared with rage. Chu Yi and Bai Xiao, 3, this bastard got naked in front of me. He's clearly trying to do something untowards me while no one is looking, we have to kick him out right away. Bai Xiao didn't lash out at the accusation in this case though. He's merely sitting on the bedside and taking it all in with an amused smirk. Get me out of here. I couldn't ask for a better outcome. Just now he was indeed open-chested, however, he's not trying to strip in front of the girl nor does he want to have her in this room to begin with. In fact, it was she who barged in when he was applying the medicine to huge wound along his chest. Furthermore, who barges into a man's room without knocking first? Snowhawk the chief saw through this of course since anyone could tell what the boy was doing with those bandages and medicine on the table. Getting gloomy in his face when turning to his oldest daughter, Lotus, you are being unreasonable here, and no, you are not breaking the marriage arrangement and you will marry him. The upset miss stared hard like she couldn't believe what her ears were hearing. Father, have you gone mad? Do not be deceived by this person. He can barely stand up on his own, let alone be the host of the Ice Lotus. I say it's big cousin who should be. Enough. Snowhawk snaps in exasperated tone, this is my decision, you will not say more. I don't care if you want to or not, but you will marry him on the auspicious day set by the matchmaker. Bai Xiao's cold glaring eyes shifted to the older man at that last bit because he never agreed to anything. I am grateful for the Snow Clan's help when I was seriously injured, but I won't be marrying your daughter. My marriage will be decided by own will, not by the dictation of others' finger. Snowhawk's face changed into the form of someone being troubled by a set of disobedient children. Oh my goodness, one Lotus is already difficult enough to handle, now this teenager is also refusing my judgment. Which part of the Snow Clan is bad? What can't we give him to refuse the marriage? Sir Xiao, you don't know this since you are not from here, but my Snow Clan has a rule passed down through the ages that one who wields the Millennium Ice Lotus must become a son-in-law of the family. Snowhawk's troubled face reforms into a collected elder teaching their ignorant younglings, you can't expect me to disregard this rule, can you? Bai Xiao only chuckled at that, your clan's rule is yours, what does it have to do with an outsider like me? I will naturally leave on my own after my injuries recovered some more, but if you wish for me to leave right away then I will. As for the debt of helping me, I will also repay it on a later date when my body permits it, that I guarantee. A debt was a debt, he owes them and won't refute that claim. However, no one was going to force him into anything. Snowhawk's smile crumbled into a thin line of deep troubled thought. Then just as this older man wanted to persuade some more, a irate outcry came from the missy in question. Can't you see, father? This bastard is acting all high-mighty in front of us, so I will have deeper feelings for him. He knows you won't let him leave, that's why he's pretending to not like me. I'm telling you, there's not going to be anyone, ever, to fall in love with him. That last line was exactly what Chu Yi heard when she arrived outside the bedroom. Normally she would be insulted at hearing her friend being berated in such a fashion, but her eyes had already landed on the young dreamy lad in her mind and that huge gashing wound across the chest. It struck her like a sword in a maiden's heart. Get out of my way. She shoved Snow Lotus aside who was directly in her way and sped towards the young lad. Chu Yi and Bai Xiao, 4, stopping right before the young lad's presence, Chu Yi was only a step away from crashing into him. You're hurt, Xiao Xiao. Without surprise, Bai Xiao became startled by the sudden appearance of this friend of his. Even so, it didn't take long for him to respond with that brilliant smile, I'm fine, how come you are here? For a moment, even Snow Lotus was bedazzled by the level of charm coming off of the lad. She's always taken her big cousin Wen Yi as the most handsome man in the ice realm, that's why she's so heads over heels for the person. Yet now she's coming to realization of someone even better on the bed right over there. To say she's not slightly swayed would be an understatement. But then the remembrance of the repugnant things done to herself instantly shook Lotus back to attention. Furthermore, she just got shoved by some lowly peasant outsider. It's good that you are all right. I and Xiaoyun came to meet Bai Yan, but we ended up going the opposite way and came here instead. I'm just as surprised to meet you here, Bai Yan. Snow Hawk, who's been listening intently at their conversation, formed a frown at the name. Why is the name so familiar? Bai Xiao even cool face finally breaks into a warmth never shown thus far. Turning to the Snow Chief, Chief Hawk, I will be leaving with my friends now that they are here. The debt I owe your clan will be repaid by me in due times, that I promise. The frown in Snow Hawk's face deepened even further. Instead of making the kind elderly facade he showed earlier, the chief had turned sharp and borderline threatening. Chu Yi sensed this of course and subconsciously stepped forward to put herself between the two men. She's vigilant in the eye like a fight's about to break out. In light of the heavy air, Snow Hawk's dangerous aura eventually scattered and returned to the gentle and kind one. Sir Xiao, I believe it's best if you stay until you recover from your injury. I wouldn't want our efforts to be in vain, how about it? Humph, why would we do that? You people will only continue to insult him if he stays. Chu Yi doesn't back down and shot the idea down with her warning glare around the increasingly larger crowd of occupants around the doorway. I'm taking him away today regardless of what you all do. This time it's no longer a mere differing opinion or argument, it's a direct insult for Snow Hawk who called himself the chief. Bai Xiao felt the sudden pressure exuding out of the older man there and immediately reached out to grab hold of Chu Yi's hand to pull her back. Yi, we will stay for now like Chief Hawk suggests. My injury is too severe to move properly, so it's the best arrangement. As soon as he said this, the pressure that surrounded the Holy Land's princess dispersed and the chief bellowed out a laugh at the sensibility of the young lad. That's great then. I will not disturb your rest, so we will take our leave. Lotus, come with me. Grabbing his eldest daughter's arm, he drags her out without room for discussion. The whole room went all quiet despite the ruckus mere seconds ago. Xiao, why are you staying? Chu Yi asks with a perplexed look. Scanning the room to make sure there's no eavesdroppers lingering around, the Snow Clan's chief won't be letting us go regardless of what we do. Also, you're not his equal, so there's no point in resisting right now. We will move once I recover. That little remark about her being weak definitely didn't make the girl any happier, but even so, the Holy Land princess didn't refute the claim and moved on. So we can leave after you recover? The boy makes a faint nod. Once I am healed, no one here is my opponent. Bai Xiao wasn't one to repay kindness with hate, but they are leaving him no choice. A debt doesn't equal to slavery, nor does it mean one must sell themselves out for such a thing. Chu Yi and Bai Xiao, 5, then I'll stay with you. Chu Yi wanted to reach out to help the young man when her hand froze midair at the sight of that huge scar along the chest. Frowning in the face, do you need me to help you with the medicine? Realizing his current flaunting of skin, Bai Xiao suddenly found it oddly uncomfortable and quickly covered up part of it. Coughing to clear his throat and to hide his inner embarrassment, no, I'll apply it myself, I've got some injuries elsewhere. Can you first move outside for it? Men and women are different, it's already bad enough he's showing his open chest before her, what would she think of him if he starts stripping the pants as well? You're hurt elsewhere. Chu Yi blew open her mouth and began to examine the young lad with anxious eyes. Bai Xiao's expression only got more embarrassed at the added attention. The place where I got hurt is on my inner thigh, it will be inconvenient, so, The Holy Land's princess reacted like any young maiden would, she's flushing red in the face like a peachy plum. Hurrying to swing around in order to not make eye contact, that. I will take my leave first then. Go ahead and apply the medicine. If you need help then call me. By the time her voice finished that sentence, she's already bolting it out the door. Lan Xiaoyun was the first to greet the fleeing friend that came running back out from the estate. That person inside, is it my cousin Bai Xiao? Bai Xiao? Huang Xiaoying the tigress didn't know who the guy was, however, she could see the flushed red appearance of her companion there. Without thinking, this big-breasted dunce jumped up and yelled the first thought that came to mind, why is your face so red? Did someone inside the Snow Clan pick on you? No one will call you a dummy if you don't speak. Chu yells back in exasperation. This big-breasted dunce couldn't pick it up, but Lan Xiaoyun definitely did with her intelligence. Did I say something wrong again? Huang Xiaoying makes an aggrieved face. Xiaoyun, Chu turns to her smart companion and instantly noticed the smiling look coming her way. In the momentary panic, she blurts out the only excuse that came to mind, it is Bai Xiao inside there, and I'm blushing because of the sun, it's really the sun. Pricking her eyes up skeptically, Lan Xiaoyun looks upward and found only the gloomy white clouds covering the sky. Sun? Where is the sun? Chu Yi's flushed face nearly exploded due to the blood rushing up to the head. She's known as the little demon witch of the Holy Land. When has she ever been so weak and helpless? It's shameful, but the girl had to admit she's inferior to even the tigress here who they took as a dunce. At least Huang Xiaoying had the courage to pursue love despite everyone's opinion. Do you like my cousin Bai Xiao? Lan Xiaoyun figured it's best to be direct. Pursing her lips into a thin line, Chu stared at the ground for a long while before looking to for answering. I like Bai Xiao, I've liked him since the day I saw him standing outside the burning Bai house. Chu and Bai Xiao. 6. Bai Yan wasn't the biological daughter of the Bai family, thus making it rather irrelevant even if she did destroy that household. However, Bai Zhao was different and remains truly born of that family, despite all the woes about their misdeeds. Toward someone that would go so far to stand with his sister, how could Chu not fall heads over heels for him? If, said Lan Xiaoyun with a smile, Bai Yan finds out you're going to be her sister-in-law, she'll be very happy. Cousin Bai Yan have always liked you a lot. Chu stared at the girl like cat having its tail stepped on. Who said I'm going to be her sister-in-law? Bai Xiao, he still hasn't accepted me, and he doesn't even know I favor him yet. Then you can tell him, you silly, why wouldn't you tell him? But what would you do if Xiao Xiao rejected you? Lan Xiaoyun suddenly got very serious with that question. Chu suddenly fell into a daze like her soul got shattered into tatters with that possibility. That's right, what if he turns me down, what then? Will he think of me being shameless if I refuse to let go? Will he think I'm one of those females? Would he hate me in the end? The more she thought, the more anxious this Holy Land princess became, I can hide it from him for now, it's fine to keep things as is like before. Rather than being rejected, she much prefers to keep things at a stalemate level of friends. Lan Xiaoyun understood the woes of her friend there, of course. Raising a hand to pat that shoulder, that's your choice, and maybe then you can watch him marry and have children as well. By then you can even be the baby's godmother and name the kid. Chu Yi's little face got dreadfully white at the idea. She could tell Lan Xiaoyun was using this method to provoke her into confessing, but she just doesn't have the courage just yet. I'll try. Chu Yi's lips formed into a bittersweet line. I will try to be like Huang Xiaoying some more. She still hasn't given up despite suffering so many setbacks, so I shouldn't give up either. Bai Zhao's temperament have always been on the cooler side, the only exception being Bai Yan, his older sister. That's also the reason why Chu felt so reluctant to confess. The only reason the boy was so gentle with them was because of Bai Yan's connection. Without that proud woman, they are barely worthy of being in the guy's view. Huang Xiaoying, who's been keeping quiet until now, finally commented with that pastry-stuffed mouth of hers. One really had to hand it to this tigress to eat at this moment. I did not suffer any setbacks, okay? Why do you two keep saying I did? It's so frustrating to be misunderstood because I've been doing very well so far. Chu Yi snapped to the tigress because she did not expect that. I thought Little Rice isn't accepting you, right? So what? Huang Xiaoying swallowed the pastry in one big gulp before replying, sooner or later Little Rice will be mine. I've set my eyes on him already, that means I won't change my mind in this life. That actually brought a momentary stupor to Chu Yi's head. Before she always thought of this tigress as a silly woman who only has breasts for brains, but now she's somewhat envious of her straightforward nature. I understand then. I will not give up. As long as he hasn't fallen in love with another, I won't give up either. Chu Yi and Bai Xiao, 7. Despite the topic being revolved around the young man inside her home, Snow Moon didn't actually realize this until they've reached this part. Stunned in the eyes, Sister Yi, are you saying that Bai Xiao inside is the one you like? You can say that. Chu Yi rubs her chin before narrowing those eyes in against the young girl, but you mustn't tell him this, otherwise. I won't let Huang Xiaoying help you anymore. I see, don't worry, I won't tell anyone, especially Sir Xiao. Snow Moon didn't get frightened by the warning tone, rather got all cherry and made a zipping gesture around the lips to emphasize her will to keep quiet. Chu Yi had already liked this lovely lass from the start and only stayed distant due to that rude older sister. Now that she's able to meet her crush as well thanks to this chance meeting, her tone naturally returned to a softer one instead of the displeased version from earlier. You are a good child. Can you tell me what's the deal with your family clan? Why is your father forcing him to become your older sister's husband? Snow Moon puckers her lip into a frown at the mention. My family has a Millennium Ice Lotus in our possession before and it took your friend Sir Xiao as its host by coincidence. Father believes he will become a great individual in the future because of that reasoning, hence his insistence on the marriage arrangement. But my sister Lotus, she has someone else she likes already. A Millennium Ice Lotus? What is that? How come I never heard of that before? Chu Yi rubs her chin at the odd name. Oh right, the one my older sister like is my big cousin Wen Yi. But I never did like that guy since I was young, I find him far too fake with that pretentious face of his. Are they really cousins? Chu Yi stares in surprise. I heard close relatives becoming a couple will have a higher chance of producing defective children. At that moment all three eyes fell 33 upon her. Who told you such nonsense? How come I never heard of such a thing? Lan Xiaoyun cuts in with her skeptical voice. I agree, I've never heard of these things either, so it mustn't be true. Huang Xiaoying also nodded in agreement. Her tiger clan has plenty of their members partnering with close relatives. If it spread that their offspring are defective for this reasoning, then it would be a scandal. It's Bai Yan who told me this. Chu Yi blandly answers, her voice deadpan and flat. Without surprise, that causes Lan Xiaoyun to loosen her frowning face. If it's my cousin who said it, then it must be true. Ms. Moon, you should tell your older sister this, otherwise their children will become defective in some way when born. I agree. Huang Xiaoying nods her head proudly. For some reason, out of consideration for your love for the three-striped tiger, I suggest you stay away from that cousin of yours lest he gets funny ideas about you afterwards. I will also tell my father to mandate distancing of close relatives in marriage arrangements. Chu Yi forced a hard look at this tigress due to the quick turn of attitude. That's not what you said just now. Snow Moon also became dumbfounded due to the lack of integrity about where these girls stood. She's simply never seen anyone changing their attitudes so quickly. No matter who your older sister likes, my cousin Xiao Xiao won't be marrying her regardless. Lan Xiaoyun bites down on her lip at the remembrance of the past. No one can force that guy into anything if he doesn't will it. Framed, 3, what do we do? My father will not let Sir Xiao go at this rate. If he finds out Sister Yi here likes him too, then he will surely kick her out. Snow Moon frowns and said it worriedly. Casting a glance at the tigress, Chu Yi wanted to confirm some details first. Hey Big Breast, are you able to overcome these people from the Snow Clan if we end up in a fight? Huang Xiaoying shook her head honestly. I can't beat them. Both of you leave first and find Bai Yan for help. I'll stay behind with Xiao Xiao in case anything occurs during this period. Unless she watches over the young lad, Chu Yi could never be at ease while they are here in the Snow Clan's home. No, I can't go. Huang Xiaoying shook her head desperately. I promised the princess to protect you too. If I leave, then who will do that? Ha, don't take me as some weak maiden that needs protecting. I'm in no danger. Xiao Yun, go with her as well. She is so clumsy and road blind, I'm not comfortable leaving her go out alone. Chu Yi sighs and shakes her own head in a helpless fashion at the arrangement. Okay Yi, we'll be back very soon, don't go anywhere without reason. Lan Xiaoyun immediately swings around and dragged the tigress along for the exit. Wait, you hold on. Huang Xiaoying wanted to cry because she hasn't forgotten about the three-striped tiger. If she leaves, then what about the tiger? Out of desperation, she pushed away her friend's hand and quickly took out a bottle and dagger from the storage bag. Cutting a slight opening on the tip of her finger, she lets a few drops of blood trickle into the container and hands it over to Chu Yi. You hold this. Although the blood is not as useful in comparison to having me around, the few drops in there should still be enough to keep this tiger at bay for now. Just don't do anything to provoke him until he's better. Chu Yi nodded after taking the bottle over, thus allowing the two girls to depart in assurance. She got careless and completely forgot about this other problem when suggesting them to leave. Thankfully the tigress had kept this in mind and helped out. Sister Yi, are you going to end up as enemies to the Snow Clan? Snow Moon eventually asks in timid tone after seeing they are alone. This younger daughter of Snow Hawk may be of a small age, but she too had noticed the heavy atmosphere in her moon as of late. I don't know. This answer from the Holy Land Princess was an honest one. She too doesn't know of what the future holds. If the Snow Clan use excessive force, then they too would be backed into a corner. By then, what other choice would she and Bai Xiao have? It's the main reason she sent her two companions away to look for Bai Yan. With the Demon Queen around, what do they have to fear? I see. Hanging her head dejectedly, Snow Moon could guess what's going to happen at this rate. But then her sad moon immediately got swiped away when she noticed the older sister's gaze. It's okay Sister Yi, I won't go tattle on you to my father. I know my family's situation, I only hope my father won't make the wrong choice in this. He can be quite stubborn at times, but he's not a bad person at heart. Please know that. Feeling a tinge of guilt for putting such a young lass in this bind, the Holy Land Princess reaches out and caressed that small head in a comforting motion. Framed, 1, Snow Clan's main gathering hall. Snowhawk sat high atop of his master chair as he gazes down at the two younglings before himself. Wen-Yi, I have something to discuss with Lotus in private, you can go back to your room first. Yes, uncle. Despite complying by arching his fist and turning for the exit, the young man had made a disgruntled face once he turned the other way. It's not surprising in this case, after all, he did work so hard just to get this far in winning the girl's fancy. Why should he be cast aside like an outsider when he wanted to be more? Lotus, Snowhawk returns his attention back to his daughter after making sure they're alone. You've been talking with Wen-Yi again, haven't you? Hanging her head low in an almost guilty manner, Father, cousin Wen-Yi is way better than that Bai Xiao, why are you so prejudiced towards him? Besides, what's so good about that Bai Xiao anyways? Didn't that outsider say he's without parents? Such a person has no status to speak of, why are you comparing such a low-standing person to big cousin? The Wen clan may not be comparable to the Snow clan, but they're by no means weak in this frostbitten realm. However, in retrospect to Bai Zhao's connection with Bai Yan, the two could never be on the same stage. In fact, the queen of the demon realm could easily overshadow every major power in this northern landscape if brought to the front. Lotus, I won't repeat myself again, so stop having those thoughts. You will not change my mind on the matter. I care not whether you accept the marriage or not, you will marry that boy, understand? The older man's expression had gotten stern and hard, and in my opinion, that Bai Xiao doesn't necessarily want to accept you. Lotus only sneered at that idea. Cocking her chin high like a proud peacock, don't make me laugh, father, that asshole is only pretending to not like me in order to trick me into liking him. I've seen plenty who tried such plays in the past. I bet it's because he knows you won't let him leave, that's why he wanted to use such means to earn image points. He probably feels so inferior that he needs to use such underhanded tricks. Enough, I don't want to hear any more. Groaning like he's going to get headache at his eldest daughter's logic, Snow Hawk's brow had furrowed into a deep knot. Swiping the air impatiently, we will talk again later, leave me for now. Also, you are not allowed to get close to Wen-Yi during this period, do you understand? Father. Lotus stomps her feet hard in frustration, but then retracted that whiny tone after lighting up with an idea. Father, I heard you got your hands on a divine god pill, can you give cousin Wen-Yi it? If you do, then I promise to listen to you. Divine god pill, a very rare drug that could help one break through from a middle divine rank into the higher divine rank. It's a wonderful product most could only dream about, and in this case the Snow clan has gotten in their possession a single pill for the most talented of their members. Growing extremely ugly in the face at the sudden request, the man could tell where this was leading to. Lotus, you know well enough that our clan is saving that pill, why would you ask such a thing of me? Of course I know, father, that's why I'm asking you to let cousin Wen-Yi take it. I know you and the elders are all looking for the most talented among the younger generation to use it upon, but you need to stop being biased towards cousin Wen-Yi. He's been stuck at the middle divine stage for so long, if he takes that divine god pill then he will surely make a breakthrough. You know it too, he and I, humph. Snowhawk sounded irate now. You really have been blinded by that boy, haven't you, Lotus? Don't think your father I can't see through to his schemes. He wants the divine god pill. Dream on. That precious drug will only be used on someone within the family, not some distant relative from another clan. Also, once you are married to that Bai Xiao, I will be sending Wen-Yi back to the Wen clan. It's not right for him to constantly stay at our home when he has his own. Framed, too, father. Snow Lotus exclaims, her eyes teary in wanting to argue some more. However, the indifferent gaze coming from her old man told the distressed lady all she needed to know and how fruitless it would be. Without any extra hesitation, she turns and stepped out of the hall with a strong level of unstableness. Father can't fool me, he only wants to keep the divine god pill because of that annoying Moon, little sister. Just because Moon's talent is superior to mine that they are willing to be so unfair to me? I can't let this go on. Cousin Wen-Yi have already been wronged, I must get him the pill at all cost. Gradually, Snow Lotus's figure had straightened out with a firm steadiness in her strides. Father, don't blame me, it's you who forced me. She mutters while giving a casting glance at the hall behind herself. In this world, there's no one who could give Snow Lotus a sense of security aside from her so-called strong and powerful cousin. After leaving the hall, the resentful lady directly went over to Wen-Yi's courtyard where the man was already waiting anxiously. Big cousin, without surprise, she bursts into tears and threw herself at him. Wen-Yi caught the girl of course. Wiping some of the tears with his finger like a gentleman, he dives right into the main topic. So did you get it? Did uncle give you the divine god pill? Appearing apologetic in her face, my father did not want to give me it. Big cousin, it looks like we will need to look for an alternative method at this rate. Towards Lotus's answer, the guy expected it as much and didn't get angry. Even so, he couldn't hide the touch of disappointment in those eyes. This woman is really stupid, she can't even get a stupid pill for me. If not for the fact that the Snow clan only has her and that young moon as the next heir, I wouldn't even consider this stupid woman. She has neither brains nor body, it disgusts me so much. Having thought that, Wen-yi did not forget to keep up his gentleman act and the girl faced upwards to meet his gaze. Softening in his voice, Lotus, you know I only want to rely on my own ability to grow, I do not want you to suffer in my stead. Regarding the divine god pill, you mustn't go to uncle again, understand? That worked as expected because Snow Lotus's mood grew even more guilty and conscious of her own failure. Cousin Wen-yi is so amazing, he never asks for others to help him. Why must father misunderstand him as such? Cousin, I will not let father continue to misunderstand you. He will learn sooner or later who is the better option for being the Snow clan's son-in-law. It's all that Bai Zhao's fault, he must have been spouting lies to him in secret and making you look bad. Wen-yi didn't buy that theory of course in the way he narrowed his eyes in at that last remark. He's not stupid like this Lotus, the guy could tell Bai Zhao could care less about the Snow clan based on his attitude alone. That leaves only one answer, the one behind his semi-exile state was the chief who saw through his plan. I know my sweet Lotus, I know. Bai Zhao lusts after you, that's why he framed me so that he could get uncle to side with him. I won't let him do that, I promise you. I will let everyone in the Snow clan know how much I love you through my own strength and not by taking advantage of others. That said, the sweet talker reaches out with his hand and caressed the girl's hair in a soothing motion, those eyes radiating a doting love usually found in a pair of love birds. Framed, 3, Big cousin, is it wrong for me being the eldest daughter of the Snow clan? I didn't want to be born strong, nor did I choose this beautiful appearance of mine, they're all given to me by my mother. Why does fate like to toy with me as much? All those shameless men only know how to connive after me and refuse to stay away. If I could, I would rather abandon it all just to be with you. Reaching up to caress her own face, Snow Lotus appears both bitter and happy at the same time for her own life somehow. Those men at least had father blocking them away so I didn't have to do anything, but now that asshole has father in his fingertips. What am I supposed to do? Lotus, I fear it's not that simple with that Bai Zhao. Those in the past only want you and the wealth your family can provide, but this guy must be up to no good. You already saw how he schemed to take the ice Lotus, he's probably meditating to do more than just marrying you. From that warm smile of the pretentious guy, when he began to lead this stupid lady down the path he wants, I know now, it must be the divine god pill. He's weak so he wants to also grow stronger. With that pill, he will be able to do just that after stealing it in his next step. That actually brought a visible tremble to the lady's face. Shaking her head in the next like she's trying to think of something, how is that possible? Bai Zhao can't even climb out of bed so how can he steal the divine god pill from my father? Did you forget? He had a few friends who came today, do you think it's a coincidence that they deliberately approached your younger sister Moon at this timing? Maybe their whole purpose is to get the pill from the very start and the ice Lotus is merely a coincidence. I can't be certain, but you must remind your father to be careful of everything and everyone related to that person. Wen-yi says it with such solemn tone that it's hard to dismiss the possibility in the eye of the girl. Getting depressed again at the mention of her old man, but my father is already convinced of Bai Zhao's intent, he won't believe my words. And if I go to him and tell him about your opinion, father will surely misunderstand you some more. Then the divine god pill. The guy continues to keep the conversation around that item since he doesn't want to leave it. Don't worry, that is placed inside the altar room by father, some outsider wouldn't be able to get there on his own. The location won't be a problem. Altar? Wen-yi raised an eyebrow, his mouth nearly unable to stop from laughing out aloud. So that's why. The divine god pill is inside the altar room, no wonder I couldn't find out where it was from Snow Hawk's concubine. Sleeping with that old hag was such a pain, though she did look fantastic for a middle woman. That bastard must have been on to me for a while now. I need to finish up with my plan soon lest he acts against me. Softening up until his voice could melt hearts, I am relieved then Lotus, you have no idea how worried I've been for you and your family since that outsider came into our lives. We must continue to be vigilant around that person. There are a lot of bad people who wants to take advantage of others in this world. After saying that, the guy went ahead to lean down at the nearby rose patch and plucked a piece from the bush to offer it over to the girl. Snow Lotus of course felt elated at the offered gift, but her sight had lost sight of the thorns on the stem there and easily pricked her own finger, letting blood draw from the small cut. Lotus. The guy hurriedly grabbed hold of her hand and wiped it with a handkerchief, his eyes showing pain and regret. It's all my fault, you're hurt because of my carelessness. Seeing the unabashed lovey eyes coming her way, the girl melted away like she's eating honey. I'm alright cousin Winnie, don't worry about me. This won't do, you are my precious Lotus. Even a prick from a rose is a prick to my heart. Come, let me take you to your bedroom for rest. Acting like he's relieved over her statement, Winnie casually tossed aside the handkerchief and plucked her right up into a princess hold and left. This would have been a real princess and prince story right out of a fairy tale. Issue was the guy didn't leave for long in this case. Minutes later, Winnie had returned in haste and picked up the blood-stained fabric from the ground. Others may not know the details but the altar room's doorway had been sealed with a spell to keep intruders out. Only those with a direct bloodline of the Snow clan could open it, and he wasn't one of them. That's why he used the rose to get some from Lotus, and now he has it. You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.